You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Southern Fried Paranormal Radio, the Paranormal and Strange, and my co-host is having some issues here, but hopefully she'll be with us here in a minute. Hey, welcome, Cheryl Carter's here, I see. We are doing what I want to call our Paranormal Christmas Special. If Betsy ever gets here, she's got some interesting things that we're going to talk about concerning Santa Claus and the whole legend behind that. So hopefully she'll be here with us in a minute, because I don't know how long I can ramble on like this by myself. Of course, everybody, Christmas is in 2 days, 2 more days, or on the 3rd day, however you want to look at it. And Santa Claus is kind of geez, how do you look at it? He's like a, oh, Cheryl said she has to work. Sorry about that. You're not the only one. I've heard from other people they got to work on Christmas too. Dusty's working Christmas. Anyway, I saw a post on Facebook where somebody was making remarks about, not telling your children that there's no such thing as a Santa Claus and all this, blah, blah, blah. When actually, in fact, there was a man named Kringle who gave out presents to all the kids in the town he lived in, and was made a saint for the good deeds that he done. So there is really a Saint Nicholas, everybody. So interesting thought there. Now, where it went from Saint Nicholas to Santa Claus, I have no idea, but anyway, he's a real dude. He really did give out gifts, not all over the world, but it started a thing that probably spread. And, of course, we know that some of the gift-giving part goes to when baby Jesus was born and people brought gifts. So where all this comes together into to create Christmas as we know it now is Dita said there is a Bafana legend. She rides a broom at Christmas until the Epiphany. Interesting. Betsy Ann, you need to call in. You're typing there, so I know you're hearing me. You need to call in. And anyway, how do I proceed further here? Because she's got more of this information than I do. I'm kind of winging it, but if anybody has watched the movie Pay It Forward, I think that's an awesome movie because, of course, the ending really sucked because, of what happened. But What's that humming sound? I don't hear a humming sound. Um, this kid that did nice things, and he didn't ask for nothing in return. He told everybody to pay it forward, and it grew into a very humongous effort. And some of the things that were paid forward were very, very expensive. And I thought that was just awesome how something like that could grow, you know. And in reality, that could probably work uh, if, you know, people participated. It would be amazing to see what the end results would be. Somebody saying, I don't know. Uh, Betsy Ann must be having problems with Skype because I know she heard me and, or I'm assuming that she heard me. If you hear me, Betsy Ann, type something in the chat here so I know you hear me. Oh, okay, I see. I see. Well, right. That's why you want me to see if the phone would work. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Hopefully she'll be here in a minute, y'all, and we can get rolling into a more better format here. I want to welcome everybody that's here. Those of you who are listening in by phone or other means out there, welcome to the show. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year and all that good stuff. And we're supposed to have some good people calling in at some point here. I don't know when they'll make it, but Frank Lee is supposed to call in, and awesome.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, you're here. Okay, awesome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Frank Lee is supposed to call in, and he's going to talk to us about the last investigation they just done recently, and I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And a new friend that I made in a group there on Facebook, Aaron's supposed to come into the chat and listen. He wanted to know if there was a link to listen in, so hopefully he'll show up. And
Awesome.
Greg is supposed to call in, and
Oh, I love Greg.
I'm sure His Eminence will make a
Even just saying his name, makes me laugh. Okay.
I'm sure His Eminence will make a visit by at some point.
Oh, thank God.
Anyway, I was starting to stumble over my tongue because you're the one that was holding the information here. I was just trying to ad lib what I could think of.
You really put it down.
About the St. Nicholas thing, and I was telling everybody how he was a real person.
Yes, actually he was. But I've been reading recently about Christmas miracles and about Santa Claus. Some people believe in Santa Claus. Some people don't believe in Santa Claus. But for the people that really do, they swear up and down it's real. And that's something that's interested me because being Christmas week, a lot of Christmas miracles happen during this week.
Yeah, you need to talk into your phone there. You're drifting out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Boy, you know what? It's so weird because my electronics only mess up when I try to do this show. It's true. It's true. I get a lot of static. I get a lot of phone cutting up and everything else. And I said, if the spirit trying to join us, that's fine. Make yourself known. Just don't mess with my electronics. But yeah, a lot of things happen at Christmas time. A lot of Christmas miracles. A lot of people that don't believe become believers. A lot of people find themselves surrounded by angels that they didn't know or believe in. Didn't believe they existed. Which is, I don't know. It's pretty amazing being Christmas week.
Yes, it is.
It really. It's a hard time of the year for a lot of people.
You know, and it's the time of the year, and you know, I've seen a lot of people post, well, you know, it should be Christmas all year round. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
People should be more giving and outgoing and everything all year round. But the thing about Christmas is, it's the one time of the year when like on the Grinch, when people's hearts grow about three sizes bigger, or at least some people,
Right, right.
and
And
they will go out of their way to help those
now,
less.
can you imagine if it was Christmas, like not the season, not the day, the actions, the caring,
Yeah,
the dealing with people. A lot of people are recluses. A lot of people stay to themselves all year long. But at Christmas time, they get invited out and they'll go, and they find out that they missed everybody.
yeah.
It's just there's so many things to name that change just at Christmas time usually. And can you imagine if it was like that really every day? Our lives would be so different. I don't know. You're surrounded by a lot of people that seem to care more at this time. Some of them because they feel like they have to. We have to invite them, but
Cheryl
they find
Clark
out that they
says
missed
she's
them.
spending Christmas with a 100-year-old lady. I think that's awesome.
Isn't that something? Good for
Yes,
you,
it
Cheryl.
is. Way to go. But when you get down to it, think about the stuff that was going on in Florida, where they were arresting the 90-something-year-old veteran that was feeding.
Oh, I don't even want to hear that. That really made me upset.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
This time of the year, people will step out of their shell.
He's feeding hungry people that didn't have a home. Can you believe that he got written up with citations for that?
Oh, he got arrested twice.
Is it 97? I mean, come on, really?
Yeah, and but the thing about it is, not to get off the point though.
Right.
What he was doing, it didn't have to be Christmas, okay? And that's what I'm saying. People should be more giving all through the year. But,
well, how do we know that something's not affecting them, paranormal-wise, spiritual-wise, to guide them in that direction to do those type of things? Some people don't believe in God, which is fine. Some people don't believe in Christmas. But some people that even don't celebrate it still have a little giving in them.
exactly.
Still,
It's a time. It's the time of the year, and the meaning behind it. It doesn't have to be Christian. It doesn't have to be pagan. It doesn't have to be Wiccan. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just that, it's that certain time of the year when everybody feels that energy, that sense of, caring. And it's awesome the way that works because, and maybe it is paranormal, who knows, because there's got to be some reason behind it.
Exactly. Well, even the veterans' homes get more action. The nursing homes, these people are left alone a lot of times. Their family don't come see them or care about them. And at Christmas time, it happens where people are jumping in to say, here, we care. Can you imagine if it was like that every day? Wouldn't that be something that would change lives? Maybe it's something to learn that you can pick up for a New Year's resolution is I'm going to chip in a little bit more. Because the more you care about people, the more you get it back. In one way or another.
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's kind of an energy that overwhelms people at this time of the year. It just seems like even the atheist, any of them, will come out of theirself and do more for their fellow man or woman or child or whatever it may be. But they come out, they have more of a giving heart than they do any other time of the year.
Right. And I'm wondering why they came up with the name The Spirit of Christmas. That's why I'm thinking it's connected. It might be connected in some way. What is the spirit of Christmas? It's inside your heart. It's not anything you can learn in school or college.
Right.
It's in your heart, which to me is spiritual. You
and
learn when you can look in a. Go ahead. Go ahead.
why did in the movie Scrooge? Why did he get presented with the three spirits of Christmas to
Yeah.
turn him around? Right? Why
And look at how
Christmas
evil he
hits?
was.
Yeah,
I'm
but
glad
I'm
it's not
just
my
saying,
boss.
it has something to do with a spirit or an influence that's out of this norm. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a
Yeah.
nurse
Well,
aide spending time in Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with two ladies who live all alone. That's awesome.
God bless you, Cheryl. God
And
bless you. That's sweet.
that's what I'm saying. People will do. Uh, I remember I used to feel bad. I used to work with some lady that lived by herself and everything, and I asked her, it was on Thanksgiving or whatever a few years ago, and I said, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" Because she usually spends Thanksgiving with her sister and stuff, but they were going to be out of town or something.
Right.
And I said, well, why don't you come have Thanksgiving with us?
Nice.
And because I can't stand to see somebody on the holidays being alone like that.
Oh, I can't either. It breaks my heart.
Hey, Frank's in the chat room.
Hi,
Hello,
Frank.
Frank.
Nice to see you, Frank.
Welcome aboard. But anyway, it's like I said, it's something that comes over people this time of the year
It's
that
true.
is like a spiritual influence, if you will.
It is. It's
Um,
like the air is different. Christmas is magic. You can
yes,
feel it.
yes.
You can feel it just with the spirit. You look around at the Christmas lights or the music you hear, and it makes your soul happy. I don't know how to explain it. It's a different type of air.
I get ill though when I walk into Walmart, like and Halloween hasn't even come yet, and they're playing Christmas
Yeah,
songs on the that
I
that
play it in the summertime. Okay, let's talk about picking on people. I play my Christmas music in the summer. My my kids think I'm nuts, but I'm like, you know what? You just don't have any spirit.
Frank Frank said he had trouble getting in too. The gremlins were messing with him.
I think it's spiritual. I honestly do. It's some kind of spirit messing with me. Well, that's all right, because Christmas is
Frank,
coming. They're
don't
going to get
worry
lumps of
about it.
coal.
Betsy was attacked by them gremlins too.
I sure was. I'm stronger than them. Good is always stronger than evil.
Frank said he's taking notes. Cool. Okay,
Awesome.
we're talking about Christmas 101 here, and
Yeah.
Professor Betsy is explaining to us about the influence of the
Yeah.
Christmas spirit.
It's true. I really think it is a different type of year, and I wish everybody would keep this in their mind, that you could do this all year long. That's what Christmas is about. Christmas is not about going to the store and spending $100 or $1,000 on somebody. That's a plus for a lot of people. But it's what feeling do you get when you get gifts? I mean, a lot of people sit there and think about, the price tag. But I don't. My kids draw me cards, and I get so happy.
I
you
see.
know.
Well, stepping back again a little bit, Black Friday. Okay,
Uh-huh. Oh,
they started
they
that.
call it black for a reason.
Our Walmart up here started their Black Friday sale at 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, which was
Oh,
Thursday.
yeah, I
You know,
avoid
I
it.
mean, but anyway, and I remember reading a post on Facebook that said something about, yeah, go ahead and spend all that money on Black Friday. If you don't pay that electric bill, your next Friday's gonna be black too.
It's true. I hate Black
Oh, I
Friday.
laughed so hard when I read that. I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, Black Friday is evil for me. That's what I said. They call it black for a reason. So I stay away from it.
Yeah, keep them in the
Well, people are
anyway.
mean. Mean to shove you out of the way. But yeah, I think it's a whole different thing, and I'm not sure if it's spiritual or not. The whole season of Christmas, but I don't know. I wish it would continue. I think that's what Christmas is all about for me. is when I see people being nice to each other or do something they ordinarily wouldn't do. And
Frank said now they have Brown Thursday instead of Thanksgiving. But
I like it already, Frank.
That's what I was saying. If you're not Christian, if you're pagan, Wiccan, whatever, it still affects even those people, atheists, all that. It affects all of them.
Exactly.
So you have to think, there's some kind of
Mm-hmm.
paranormal, extra, special spirit influence that touches people during Christmas time.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at, is it doesn't matter. It doesn't it doesn't discriminate. Everybody's welcome. Everybody.
Cheryl Carter said Yule. Yeah, it's the same. That's the same thing, basically. And, everybody gets into the spirit of wanting to give and share. And with me, like I said, you could put a dadgum, wrap me up a coffee cup and put it under the Christmas tree. I'd be happy as long as I had, my family around to share the time with and enjoy. And of course, you eat your Christmas dinner or whatever.
Oh, heck yeah.
You do that with me and everything. So, it's just a special time. It doesn't matter who you are.
Exactly. I think it's the part, even the dressing up is so nice and everybody gets, people that really get frustrated by the holiday are people that aren't thinking in the right direction. It's supposed to be about happiness and sharing and love. And when you're too worried about what people are going to think and what they wore and how much money they spent or, what lousy gift you got, that's not the right thing you're supposed to be thinking of.
The stores and everything have blown it way out of proportion.
That's why, right. That's why I don't pay attention.
They made it all about, get your kid the next new best video game or, or PlayStation or,
well, you find those people are like that all year long. They don't care if it's Christmas. They want stuff.
But what I'm saying is they the stores advertise it to the point to where it's all about spending the money.
Exactly. And that's not the spirit of Christmas. They using Christmas is what they're doing. When
I was a kid, I'll share this. I don't mind doing it. My grandparents raised me, and they didn't have a lot of money. And
right.
I remember one Christmas I got this plastic shotgun and a rabbit. And it was a shotgun that shot darts, right? It was
like Ralphie in the Christmas Story.
And the rabbit, you would wind it up and it would go across the. When you would hit it with a dart, it would turn and change direction.
Poor rabbit.
And I shot my granddaddy between the eyes with the dart, and he broke my shotgun tree. But that's another part of the story we'll talk about later.
We'll talk about that later, yeah.
But the point is I got that, and I was just thrilled to death.
Right.
And now, if a kid don't get, a PlayStation 4 and 2 or 3 of the hottest video games, they act like they didn't get nothing for Christmas,
Yes, I hate that. See, when over here, I like Rita said when all my kids were at home, it was a rule that you had to make gifts and not buy them. And I find that so important because I've always made my gifts. I buy a few things, but I am an artist, so I hand make something that I could see people, hang in their house or something all year long. And to me, that means a lot more.
It does.
You care for it better. Things are disposable when you buy them. If it breaks, oh what?
I remember when I was a kid, I made stuff for my grandparents, at school and whatnot. And they loved that stuff. And I remember my kids growing up would make Father's Day cards and birthday cards and Christmas cards at school and give them to us. And I cherish those things more than anyone you could ever bought out of a store.
Exactly. I still have my kids' Christmas ornaments they made in kindergarten. And those are so important. I don't care about the other ones that you can buy. But the ones that they made for me, even though they were all sloppy and, looked like someone drunk made them.
It don't matter. It came from
I
the heart,
love those. It did come from that. That's what it is. It's hearts in artwork. You know, I look at Cheryl. I make jewelry. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, I was fixing to say Cheryl Carter makes some pretty cool jewelry, and you guys ought
Nice.
to check into that. And
Oh, yeah, you appreciate Zita. You appreciate those ornaments too. I know. Doesn't it mean something different? That's exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't take money. It takes your heart.
yeah, they
You know,
would
and
make
that's the
ornaments
spirit
for
of
the Christmas tree at school too, and they bring them home, hang them on the Christmas tree, and stuff
I
like that.
know. I know, but that's the spirit of Christmas. You don't care if it's done all sloppy and stuff. You save it every year to put on the tree because it means something.
It
You know?
does,
And it brings back memories, and it triggers so many. That
oh,
little object triggers so many things. There's so much
we
happiness
still
in a little package.
we still hung those things on the Christmas tree after our kids were grown, for Pete's sake.
Well,
You
my
know,
kids don't know. I still hang theirs on the tree.
yeah, I mean, it's just, it's the time, and that's where I keep going back to, like you said, is there a paranormal influence here? Is there a
Mhm.
spiritual influence that affects people?
It's
At
true.
Christmas time that doesn't affect people during the rest of the year. I mean,
Well, what's the difference to you when you see a little child that talks about they can't wait for Santa Claus and they get so excited and they go to bed early and they plan their little note for him and leave the cookies and milk, the whole bit. And then
yeah.
you see a kid saying, "I don't believe in Santa." What's the difference in those two kids? That's the
I
spirit
remember
of Christmas
clothespin
right
angels
there.
too, Dita,
Oh, angels. That's
and
a
pipe
whole
cleaner
nother.
spiders and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? That's important because there's a lot of stories. There's story upon story. I couldn't stop reading. There were so many of
Dita's
people that
talking about
swore.
the magical spider legend in the Christmas tree, and I just read that recently.
What is that? I've never heard of it.
It's something about the lady cleaning the house, and she run all the spiders off, and they went up into the attic, but they come down at night when she was in bed, and they loved the Christmas tree, so they crawled
Ah,
all in the Christmas tree, but they covered it in dirty webs and everything, and and when Santa came to bring the gifts or whatever, he was afraid that she would, you know, be hurt because of the dirty looking webs, and he saw how much the spiders liked the tree, so he turned the webs into tinsel, and that's how
oh.
tinsel, on the Christmas tree was supposed to have originated, I guess. But I
Well,
thought
that's
that was
funny because a
amazing.
lot of legends are based on fact. You don't know, you know. But there's so many people that swear up and down that Santa Claus is real, that they've actually seen him and they were not dreaming. Um,
Well, I've said this before. I'll say it again. Most all of your legends, if not all of them, started from a factual point somewhere in time. Now
it's
they
true,
probably got stretched and sugar coated along the way, but they all originated in a fact somewhere.
right?
Something that happened at some point in time. And
Right.
you know,
Well,
anyway,
it's true.
I got to break in here real quick. We are live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Oh boy.
Yeah, but it's just awesome because you know I never really thought about it when I was a kid. I just knew that Christmas was special. And do you remember? I'm sure a lot of people will remember as kids doing the window shopping thing, like on Christmas Story.
What do you
You
mean?
know,
Like,
where they had the displays in the windows, and you'd be all up there,
oh, I
all
love
dressed
the
as glass,
display.
looking at the displays and stuff like that.
I just love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's, I don't know. It's like you're surrounded by magic. I just, I don't know. You get a different feeling. You get happy. Um, That's why I want Christmas all year long.
And I can remember wanting a BB gun, but not necessarily a Red Ryder BB gun. But
okay, Ralphie. That's my favorite movie. I love Christmas Story. Oh my gosh, the father is hilarious. Sticking his tongue to the pole. Oh my gosh. Have you ever tried that, Roger? Tell me the truth.
Come back, please come back. Actually, I did stick my tongue to the ice tree one time just to see if there's.
You did? How did that work out for you?
That was back when my grandparents had one of the old Hot Point refrigerators, and I remember we had the, I guess they were the aluminum ice trays.
The ones on the post?
That you had to pull the handle and break the ice cubes loose, you know?
Oh, I know what you're talking. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I took one of them suckers, and yeah, it stuck.
I miss everything. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's funny. Let me see. Let's see. Bumblebee. So which show is on tonight? This show. I'm not sure.
Which show is on tonight? Who's Bumblebee here? Let me see. This is the Christmas. We're just going to talk about whatever pops up show. Some of it's paranormal, some of it's funny, some of it's just wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Just whatever comes out of our mouth. So be prepared for anything and everything.
Mary Tyler Moore was a dancing fairy on the commercial. The commercial for the marshmallow rifle? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, it's live. We're live, and we're just full of Christmas spirit tonight. We're just talking about everything that.
Yay! I love Christmas.
Happy thoughts, you know, kind of like with Peter Pan. Find your happy thoughts. Anyway, I remember one year. I got to tell this story because it was funny.
I can't wait.
Me and my older brother at the time. This was my younger brothers and sisters were in Alaska. But me and my older brother, we were, and it was like right after Christmas, and we got our, and I remember getting this Indian headband and a drum.
Ooh.
And
nice.
Anyway, we were, yeah, and I had white tennis shoes, and I'll never get my neighbor saying this. We were playing Cowboys and Indians, and I was the Indian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my neighbor, you know, was watching us out there playing and everything. He called me over, he said, "Hey, come here." And I went over and he goes, "You know you can't sneak up on him with them white tennis shoes on."
Oh my gosh. I love it.
But yeah, that was one of those Christmases that, you know, I got that and I thought I just got the most, you know, that was just the most awesome stuff you could get, you know. Back then it wasn't about how much money you spent.
No. No,
you know?
no. It was a whole different time. I mean, just sitting around with my grandmother and uncles used to play guitar, and everybody brought a dish and would sit around just laughing. The kids would play outside, and I don't know. Yeah. It's a whole different thing. Now everyone's me, you know, and trying to outdo each other, and I don't like it. It's ugly. I don't like it. I want Christmas spirit to come back. I think it's starting to. I see it.
And I got to add this, too, because my neighbor, the one I was talking about, lived on the south side of us.
Uh-huh.
And his brother lived on the north side of us up the hill. And they were like night and day. I remember my older brother would go up there and, you know, and the guy kind of took to him. But I don't think he cared much for me. I was just a little snot-nosed kid. And
yeah,
I went up there one day because my brother was up there, and he tried to put me on a dadgum bull. Well, me and him didn't see eye to eye after that day at all.
Put you on a bowl?
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine that.
We were not friends anymore.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. I
But I
remember
mean,
once my older
I
brother.
like I like the one that lived on the south side. He liked me, and his brother liked Dennis, my older brother. So you know,
Yeah. Well, everybody in our neighborhood kind of congregated with people because there was 6 kids in my family, so there was always somebody to pick. And me and my sister are the opposite, also. We're night and day.
yeah, Frank,
And
that's right. Those were the good old days, buddy. I'm
those
telling
were the good old days. Those were
you.
real days. When you
Yeah.
put candle wax on the bottom of your sled to go down the hill faster. And
Oh
these kids
man.
nowadays don't know that because they have plastic sleds.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. You need the candle wax.
You know, and we rode car hoods and stuff like that, or pieces of tin, whatever we could
Oh,
find. You know, we'd
exactly.
take a piece of tin and bend the corners up or the end of it up. You know, and take a nail and poke holes in it, tie a rope on it. You know, and that was your sled. You know,
I love
and
it.
we done all kind of crazy stuff.
I know it. I remember once my older brother, zipped my little brother. He told him to get on the sled. And he zipped his arms inside of his coat, telling him to keep warm, and he put him down the hill on the sled. Mean, but see, that's what makes stories for when you're older to laugh about. If you don't do those kind of things, you've never lived.
Well, it's stories to tell your grandkids. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. What are you going to say? I went down the hill on a plastic sled, period. That's not
Right.
fun.
I
What kind
rode
of story is
downhill on
that?
a plastic sled that I paid twice as much for as the real ones
Who
cost back
cares?
in the day. You
Oh, my gosh, Cheryl, I had the best trucks. Right on,
inner
girlfriend.
tubes, Dita's inner tubes, they are great.
You
I
didn't
never
need
tried
a
that on
degree
the
to
snow,
operate a
Dita.
bike.
That's a good idea. I always thought you're supposed to get on them and float down the river.
Yeah. No, we didn't need helmets or knee pads. Are you kidding? How are you supposed to get your injuries?
Well, and like Frank said, you didn't need a degree
Sorry.
to operate a bicycle, and you didn't, and you didn't wear a bicycle helmet and elbow
Oh,
pads and knee
I'm
pads
sorry.
and
Yeah.
all that gum stuff. And
Because we didn't need the government to tell us what to do. Whole nother story. Back
yeah,
in the
we
day,
had our
we
hands to
did.
break the fall.
That's right.
I
That's
used to
right.
do some crazy stuff on bicycles now when I was a kid.
I know. Me
We had
too.
uptown where I lived in Troy. We had there was a sidewalk, and of course it was up on a hill, and the hill was probably 6, 8 foot up, and the sidewalk ran down through there. Well, the main road was like at the part where it was actually concrete all the way down was
Uh-huh.
about 5 or 6 foot off the ground. And I would get going down that sidewalk, and when I hit the part where the concrete went all the way to the ground, I would jump off of that sidewalk and land on the road, which was
And
a good 5 6 foot high jump.
did you miss the jump? Is that what happened?
One time,
Oh.
and I landed sideways and scratched my legs all up pretty good. But
Ooh.
2 or 3 days later, I was jumping it again. That's just the way you did
Of course
things,
you
you
were.
know.
That's what you're
That's
supposed to
what you
do.
did. And
Nowadays, you get hurt. The parents are like, oh, no, they can't do that ever again. Look, they got hurt. But that's how you learn things. You learn things from screwing up and learning.
Dita's a nut, I'm telling you. She said wrap the kids in bubble wrap and let them go out and play, and God forbid they run and make contact with another human being.
Thank you, Dita. Thank you.
Uh,
Right on. But it's true. But see, just talking about this right here, everybody knows what we're talking about. This is the spirit of Christmas. This is it. Everybody gets involved, no matter who you are. You always have something to tip in.
Bumblebee said these days some places won't hire you with a degree. He's right. You're overqualified.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have a degree, you're underqualified. So what are you supposed to do? Go to school for half the semester? Say, well, I'm in the middle. Can you hire me now?
Well, you know why? Because the places got to make their money. The colleges and schools overcharge to teach people. Half of it, well, we already know.
Frank said, I hit my head plenty of times with a bike, usually landing on top of me, and I turned out just fine.
See, it's true. All of our injuries make stories, memories.
Yeah, folks with master degrees taking jobs at McDonald's, that's true.
It is very true. It's true. My daughter went to school and she's qualified medically and everything, and she can't find a job. She can find a job at Taco Bell and stuff, but not a job.
Holy moly. Cheryl said we had a big hill that ended up on the highway. My neighbor rode his sled down the hill and right under a semi.
I'm picturing Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation. Remember when he waxed the bottom of his sled? Or he oiled it, greased it, and he wound up going down that hill at about 500 miles an hour and wound up in the road. That's like one of my favorite movies. But
That was a spooky semi.
Another one of my favorite movies, actually, is A Christmas Carol with Scrooge. And that story goes back from way back from 1849. But you got to think, they had the ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, and the Christmas future. And,
I see dead people every day. What's this? I see dead people every day. Dude, you're a mortician. You're supposed to. Duh.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I thought about working in I don't know, working somewhere like with a mortician or something before. And I don't know. That must have a lot going on there. I don't know.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, Roger?
Yes.
Hey, Roger, it's Greg calling. I promised
Hi.
you a call.
Recognized your voice, sir. How are we doing tonight?
Oh, go ahead.
I said, how are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. I'm surrounded by cats right now, and I just got off the computer, you know.
Oh, I love cats. Hi, Greg. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Was
So
this
nice to
Cindy?
hear from you. This is Betsy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I thought I'd call in just to see how everything's going there. I like the new name, too.
Well, thank you. We kind of like that ourselves.
Anything to do with food, I like it.
I get to thank my
Yeah.
good buddies over there at OSB, One Step Beyond Paranormal Skeptical Research, for that fine name.
Nice.
Oh, really? Oh, but that is cool. I love it. So
And
what are you guys up to?
I appreciate them giving me that name to use because I think it's pretty awesome.
I do too. It describes you to a T.
And
It really
sticks
does.
It sticks it
You
right
know,
up their nose, you know.
And if I get tired of talking about paranormal, I can always take that bucket of chicken off the ad there, you know, and just pig out a while. So
Now
There
we're
you go.
talking.
Yeah, but
Now
every
we are
time
talking.
every time I see the name, it makes me hungry.
Me too. I know. I look at the advertisement like, come on, serious? I want that for real.
Yeah, I got the surge to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and you know.
Yes.
Well, if you
Yeah, I
do,
think
you better
that would-
email me a piece, dang it.
What's that?
I said, if you do, you better email me a piece.
Well, I'll save you one, Roger. I promise. Okay. So what are you guys up to tonight? What's the?
We're
what are you
talking about Christmas spirit. Is Santa Claus real? Is Christmas time magical?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
being Christmas week, it's a whole other thing. I mean, like we said, a lot of people get lonely and sad at Christmas time.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
hard. A lot of people in veterans homes and nursing homes spend time alone, never mind people out on their own.
Yeah,
But Christmas is different, you know?
It's a good time to say if you're alone yourself or something to volunteer or help people out like that, especially the elderly in that, you know.
Exactly. And look at how happy people get over it. That's why I was saying it's like it's magic. It's like Christmas magic. Everybody changes at Christmas time.
Cheryl
Oh,
said
yeah.
my friend Dave has a hearse. Her name is Ellie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have some friends that own hearses too.
Oh, I'd love to have one. A hearse you're
My
talking
father
about?
had one.
Well, Bumblebee says, oddly, most people think of Santa at Christmas, but technically he is totally pagan.
Well, I'm not sure. I've seen so much history on Santa Claus going back to Germany.
Santa
and all
Claus
different
came from Saint Nicholas, who was a saint, so I don't think he was pagan.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Whoever put that on there, I don't know. You know, it doesn't sound right to me.
I think it's hard. It depends where you get your information from and who taught you that. Because I think actually being a saint, I don't know. Can't you? I don't know what the right words are that I'm trying to say, but it's like when you have something in one language and you have it in so many other cultures also, but you call it something different.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
said,
saying?
Originally,
Like they have their own version
was
of things.
fried
Yes.
Kinderklaas.
Oh.
Sinterklaas. I was just about to say that too, Roger. I've heard about that already too.
I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to make a note and really look it up.
Thanks, Sir Bumblebee.
Because I've never heard of it.
We're going to have to check into that.
Yes, I've never heard of that, but I'm always willing to learn.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. So, yeah, I want to look into that and see
I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself, too. Well, I was watching.
Well, why not?
Frank said you should have seen the reactions when people seen a hearse parked outside the bar. Made them think twice about going in.
Oh, that must be fun to go drive around in on a night like that.
I want one. I'm telling you,
father
I
has a
want
hearse.
for our team, and I want, I put our team's name on it and everything like that.
That'd be cool. Actually,
Yes,
I have a friend that gives ghost tours in a hearse.
I was going to say I should talk to Linda to see if she could buy one for Iron Island too.
Yeah, well, that's what my friend does. He bought a hearse and he gives people ghost tours in his hearse.
There's a Hell, Michigan.
Cheryl
Carter said we went to Hearst Fest in Hell, Michigan.
Nice.
And yeah, people collect those. I guess that's what they say.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see those.
Actually, I always wanted to own a hearse myself. I don't know, for me, I don't think it's anything any different from any other car. My father was the president of a classic car club. So, I mean, I've seen every kind of car changed and modified into anything you can imagine. But hearses, I don't know. You know what it is? You get a different feeling looking at them because you know what kind of car they were. But if you were riding in the hearse not knowing it was a hearse, would you really feel like there was anything spiritual in it?
40 hearses in a parade. Now, that'd be awesome to see right there.
There you go.
Or you turn it into the Ghostbusters. Turn it into the Ghostbusters car there or something,
Hey, I want to be a proton pack on top of that sucker, and don't cross the streams.
The streams?
Okay, Cheryl said she has photos. Hey, send me some of those. I want to check that out. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm going to talk to Linda about that and see if she wants to buy one.
Oh, speaking of Linda, how's things going at Iron Island? Y'all been having any new stuff going on over there?
I haven't been there in a while because being around Christmas time, people don't want to ghost hunt too much. So,
speak for themselves.
See, I think there's more activity. I think there's more activity around Christmas time. Sometimes.
Yeah, well, what I do over there too is we had a little boy named Tommy, which Roger, you're familiar with
right.
Tommy, right?
Yeah.
And of course he was buried through there back in 1966. He was only 6 years old, and we get tons and tons of EVPs from him. I could tell you some stories about that, and he's been around for 6 years.
God bless him.
Well, one time we were doing EVP session, and I asked him about, in fact, I'm trying to get the EVP to you too, Hank. I called you Hank. I'm sorry, Roger, but. Anyhow, so what my son and I do every year, I go over there and get him a Snoopy because that's what he wanted for Christmas, according to the EVP that we got.
That's my favorite.
Right.
My favorite.
That was cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Frank, don't forget you're supposed to call in and tell us about that investigation y'all just did, so keep that in mind there, sir.
Hank went on a big investigation
there? Frank from Casper Paranormal.
Oh.
See, and he says it's definitely more active this time of year, that his phone blows up from November 1st until the end of March. I knew it. Christmas is, I don't know, there's more activity.
Hey, it's them 3 ghosts of Christmas, They're really busy. There's a lot of Scrooges out there.
Well, see, if I was passed away, if I was a spirit, and I knew at Christmas time my family might be missing me, wouldn't I try to appear at Christmas time? I can imagine a lot of spirits are trying to be around their family at this time that are missing them.
Well, yeah. Think about it.
Right. I mean, that's why it could be a lot more activity. You never know if it adds to it. Look at how many people passed away, and look at how many people are missing them. Multiply it.
Well, you know what?
That's a lot of activity.
I'm going to be having a group tomorrow night. In fact, that's the first one I've had in a while. So I'll be doing Iron Island tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know what goes on over there.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah, definitely. I want to see how much difference, and be sure to let us know the difference between the normal activity and the activity you get tomorrow.
Yeah, see if it's ramped up or not.
Yeah, I want to see if it's revved up some or what. And I think it would be. I mean.
Oh yeah. I wish I should keep a journal myself, because the people that go over there keep a journal. Everybody that we have over there. And I
Frank
really
said some of them are
myself.
from people consuming the Christmas spirits.
Yeah, I can see that happening too.
Jello shots, right?
Well, Lord knows when you're inebriated. I mean, do you see more when you're inebriated? Are your senses different?
Yeah.
There could actually be some truth to that. Never mind that it's funner.
Well, the thing about it is, and I know it's not funny, but it is if you think about it in this aspect. You could walk into a house that had a demon in it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Under normal circumstances, you'd be, watching your backside, and you'd have that creepy feeling, and you'd be like, what's going to happen next? You could drink a fifth of Jack and walk in there and say, all right, sucker, come on out, I'm ready.
I'd be sitting down drinking with them. I'd be like sitting there making best friends with them. That would be me. I'd be crying, telling them my life story. That's how I'd scare them away. I'd tell them my life story and just start crying and start hugging him and telling him he's my best friend. That should scare him off.
Hey, buddy, here, have a
You're my bestest friend ever. I know people don't like you, but it's all right. Actually, that's a really good thing. I should start doing that. I should start drinking with the spirits. I would get rid of the bad ones.
Having spirits with the spirits, right?
Yeah.
That's what the show tonight is about, people, is laughing it up, having a good time, talking about Christmas and the spirits of Christmas and just whatever crazy stuff goes on during Christmas. Is the paranormal activity stronger during the Christmas season than it is at other times?
I think
so. Anybody wants to call in that has a story concerning spirits at Christmas time, feel free. You're welcome. 716-745-4266.
Can you repeat that number, Roger? I cut you off rudely.
716-745-4266. You got a story you want to tell about spirits during Christmas? Give us a yell.
Oh, I would love to have people call in. I'd love to hear some stories.
That'd be awesome.
I know it.
Roger, guys, what I might do is I'm going to go back into the books. We got 6 journals with the people that wrote in over the past 6 years. And I'll go back and I'll check. What I'll do is check the times around Christmas time and I'll check the activity.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that would be great.
That would be
I'll get back to you guys.
Because, I am interested to know, is it more active around Christmas time? There's like I said, there's a lot of people missing people and stuff,
Oh, yeah. Well, there's another time that we usually get it pretty active, too, is when they're doing work around the building. And the time they put a new roof on one time, my God, it was going crazy upstairs in the attic with the dragging sounds and banging and all kinds of stuff going on there. They're never too happy when you're doing any kind of change in a building like that,
Hey,
yeah, when you renovate buildings and stuff.
That's one turkey you don't have to carve.
Yeah, anytime you renovate, I always get worried about that, especially in the older houses. Like when I see someone renovating them, I'm thinking, boy, they're probably rampant over there. But I can usually sense which ones. I can drive by when me and my husband drive down the street. I can say, like, oh my gosh, that house is bad. I can feel which houses have more than others.
And if I ever win the lottery and I get millions of dollars, I'm gonna find me a Civil War colonial.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
what I want.
Ooh,
That'd be
I
awesome.
do too.
That'd be
I need
awesome.
one too. If you win the lottery, then you'll have enough money for me. Please.
Well, I want a colonial that was
I'm sure
built.
you'll share, Roger, right?
Yeah, she has a good heart. Roger has a good heart.
But I
He'll buy
want
his all
three
house.
Civil War colonials. What I want.
Oh, isn't that
that'd
be
be awesome.
awesome? I would just
Jeez.
love that. You know, and especially they used to put stuff in the walls and stuff and hide stuff in the walls and build around it and stuff, you know, for safekeeping. I can imagine the stuff
Hello,
you'd find.
radio blue.
Radio Blue. Nice.
Or radio with a C blue. How you pronounce that? Radio blue.
Well, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't think of it though.
I'm just gonna call you Radio Blue. How's that grab you?
That sounds
Yeah.
good. But that'd be awesome to get an old house like that. My God.
Yes, it
Oh,
would.
man. Especially Civil War era. Like
Well,
I said, they used to put stuff in the walls and stuff. You know, you find all kinds of letters and photographs and all
I
kinds
have
of
two
things.
people rubbing those in my face. Betsy posts them on the group page
Yes,
over
I
there.
do. I do. I'm
And then
bad.
CJ posts them on my freaking homepage, and so I'm looking
There you
at
go,
colonials everywhere I
CJ.
go, you know. So yeah, I want one, dang it.
I know, we keep showing Roger pictures like, look what you don't have.
Awesome, thanks, Cheryl. Cheryl sent me some photos of the hearses.
Oh,
and
good.
stuff.
Cheryl sent some pictures. I want to see them later.
I'll share. You know I will.
Yes, good.
That'd be awesome.
That's right,
See-
Greg. I got to
see-
add you into the group, or Roger's going to add you into the group. I want to see you in the group. I have my own group going on Facebook, Heineken's Closet. Anybody that wants to join, I suggest you do because it's a really good group. We
Yes,
post a
it
little bit of
is.
everything.
Did you guys send that to me yet or no?
Roger?
Did we not?
See, I'm
thought
not
we
on
did.
your friends list, Greg. I just met you. I don't even know your last name.
Yeah, send
Well, you
Betsy
could
and
probably-
put in a friend request there, Greg, and we'll get you in there.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, you can go on
I thought
Roger's
I
site
did.
and get my name, Greg Hoffman, and then send me a friend request if you want, and then
Oh, I
Yeah.
would love to.
that'd be
Well,
awesome.
there's so many good stuff. Roger's really good with the music in the morning. It gets me going. He posts some good music.
Awesome.
Bumblebee
Awesome.
said center cloth or center
Sinterklaas.
cloth
Sinterklaas,
was the
right.
first known personification of the person who would eventually become known as Santa Claus. See, I got to look that stuff up because that's interesting.
I heard it had German roots, but
Yeah,
I'm not
it
sure
sounds-
exactly
it
what
sounds
Santa Claus.
German.
Huh. Yeah, it does. It does. Well, Klaus is a German name.
Yeah, I got to look that up.
Dutch. Dita says Dutch.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Dita says it's Dutch.
oh yeah.
I
Well,
like
you know
Dutch.
what I was doing too last night? I was watching Gator Hunters, on the History Channel.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, there was a Louisiana Christmas, I guess, something like that, right? On the bayou.
Oh, really?
And now you got to hear this. Down there, I guess they tell the kids that Santa Claus doesn't bring a sleigh. Santa Claus comes on a punt boat with
Thanks,
8
Bumblebee.
alligators pulling them along. Have you heard about that, Roger? Yeah, I just learned it last night. I was watching on TV last night, and that's what they were saying. They tell the kids that's how Santa Claus comes to their place.
You never know how Santa Claus comes. It's a spirit. It can come in a lot of different forms.
But if I ever saw somebody come with 8 alligators, I'd be the hell out of it.
I know. But I think I think everybody can associate with Santa Claus in a different way. It's
yeah.
like right
Okay,
here, Italian. You have the Italian versions
I
of folklore.
got to step on toes here. We're live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. We're going to take a short break. Don't nobody go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. We're going to play a teaser from Bo Jerkhart's new album.
Yeah, hi, Cindy.
Oh, good.
How you doing?
I never met. A friend doesn't like her, so I thought I'd make some threats. The sheriff came. That didn't make my wife smile. Oh, now I'm on file.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
And we are back. Greg's going to call back in a few minutes, y'all. He had to go look into something. And Dita had posted in chat, I like Italy's La Befana. In Italian folklore, Befana is an old woman who delivers gifts to children throughout Italy on Epiphany Eve, the night of January 5th, in a similar way to St. Nicholas or Santa Claus. I think that's pretty cool. Betsy Ann is tending to her little one real quick. She'll be right back. So, Frank, anytime you're ready there, buddy. My buddy Frank Lee, he's an awesome guy. He's gonna call in and he's gonna give us some lowdown on the hoedown about the last investigation that they just did. Epiphany, yes. Yes, I know, Mama. I know. um, New Year's Eve, December 31st. We are having a New Year's party bash. And other show hosts from the different shows on the network should be calling in, and we're all just going to have a big time and count down the new year. And everybody wants to be there for that. Be there or be square, as they say. Um, okay, I guess Bumblebee left. I didn't notice what was going on there. But he gave us the source for information though on the stuff he was talking about. So that's very interesting. I got to make sure I check that out. That's some interesting details. Who will be host on New Year's Eve? Good question. What in the world? Who is scratching something? I am host on New Year's Eve. Isn't that lovely? Well, I'm sure I can New Year's Eve it up for everybody. I'm sure we'll find a lot of interesting things to talk about, like oh, gee, thanks. It'll be me and dark roast coffee versus everybody else and vodka, tequila, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, etc., etc. That should be lovely. I can just see me talking like this and everybody else answering like. Well, that's okay. I can do this. And Bo, I'm sure, is going to be coming on and in a fine fit. So, my God, what is that? Oh, Cheryl Carter said not me. So you're going to be with me, huh? Anita said I'm a lightweight. But anyway, oh, and Frank, you're going to come and call in too, right? New Year's Eve, you gotta rock and roll with us. Countdown to New Year's. Um, and whenever you're ready, you can call on in there, and somebody has got a mad cat or something in there scratching stuff. I keep hearing something like a scratching noise. Am I the only one hearing that? Oh, okay. Okay, maybe it is, and she's probably not. There it is again. Man, that almost sounds like a vacuum cleaner sucking up something. Anyway, yes, I don't know. We don't know what it is, Dita, but I think it's something over there on Betsy Ann's end. It's raining here, everybody. Anyway, while we're waiting on Frank to call in and Betsy to come back, and
Okay, I am back. Sorry.
she's back. Okay, what was that scratching sound?
That was that was the buzzer for my door. My daughter just got here to help with the baby.
I kept hearing that. I said, sounds like a vacuum cleaner sucking something up.
It's a horrible sound. I'd rather have a camel make a moo sound, whatever they do. I do need a new doorbell, Dita. I'm actually getting a new apartment in about a week. I'm getting my new house, so I won't have to hear that ever again. That's going to be a distant and bad memory. Yes, I'm getting a new house. I'm so excited. You're all invited.
Okay. And where's this house at?
It's actually in New Bedford, Massachusetts, where I live. It's near the park and the zoo.
They just said ring the bell first. Make sure it don't sound like that.
Oh, I am. Actually, I live on the first floor. You can knock on my window. We live in the city. That's what we do. You knock on the window.
How far are you from Salem? Or
Salem, I'm about 45 minutes away from Salem. A little under an hour.
See, I'd love to go and check that out.
Actually, it's pretty neat where I live because I am in between Cape Cod, Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, and Salem. Salem's right over there, over past Boston. So I'm in the middle of everything over here. It's really a historical place to live. Extremely historic.
I would love to check out where, the witch trials, not necessarily where the
Oh,
witch trials were held, but, well, yeah, I would. But
actually, they
also,
have a witch museum there that you can go to.
some of the places where they hung them or they crushed them to death and stuff that they did like that.
Well, they do reenactments in the street, and because the cemetery is just off to the right, that they buried the people in, and they do the reenactments right there, like right in the center of town, and I don't know, it's like the cemetery is a common place to hang. They even have like granite benches along the wall of the cemetery where you can sit.
You would think that if they done reenactments of stuff like that, that it would stir up some activity there from.
Oh, I could tell you stuff. Oh yeah, like the House of the Seven Gables that's there. You can go and you tour around in the House of the Seven Gables. It has all kinds of antique artifacts in there and clothing. And the Witch Museum, they tell the whole story. They actually have wax figures lit up around the room. You sit in like a pentagram type of thing with all the people's names that got hung around the pentagram. Cheryl. Yeah, they have right, exactly. They have the names of the witches on there. That is my favorite movie, Dita. It's a Wonderful Life really is my favorite movie.
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, I like that.
How can you go wrong with somebody that feels that distraught? And there is angels. Every time you hear about an angel gets his wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And it's true, just the story about when he was a little kid and his brother fell through the ice and everything. If he wasn't there, if he wasn't born, that whole life, everybody's life would be different.
Yeah.
So everybody's important.
If he wasn't born, his kids wouldn't have been born and all that stuff. So, yeah, it would change a whole lot of things,
And it showed his wife was a spinster librarian and, she didn't have any friends really. Not sure what happens when your bell rings.
Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
It's a spirit. I knew it.
Yeah, I know. It's one of the Christmas spirits.
I welcome the spirits and see what happens. That's okay. That's all right.
Well, that's all right. Well,
hopefully they'll call back.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it was Frank. He'll call back.
You're right, Dita. Everyone has an important role in life. Some people that don't feel important, you're important. Everybody is. If you weren't here, people's lives would be changed.
I'm important. You see, I mean, if it
important or important.
I'm important.
Okay, important. I wasn't sure if you were important.
and there's a joke about that, and I'll tell you in a private later.
One of those. Okay.
Okay. Do we have a caller?
Hey, it's Frank. How are you?
Hey,
Frank, how are you?
Mr. Lee, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, if I got any better, I couldn't stand it.
As Roger says, awesome sauce.
Yeah, awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce.
The last time you and I chatted, you were telling me about an investigation that y'all were getting ready to undertake, and I was waiting to see what kind of stuff came up.
Well, we've actually had several going. We had one that we did recently that was rather interesting, and we've got a couple on the, in the near future that look to be fairly interesting as well. So I can go over any one of those. I know we had one that wasn't too far from Sloss Furnace there in Birmingham.
Ooh, see, I want to go there so much.
Me too. I want to go.
Yes, I do.
I'll tell you something. Sloss Furnace is only about 30 miles from my house. I mean, I can be there in half an hour, and
that figures.
Been there, investigated. Right. I've investigated there more times than I can count. Actually, every once in a while I'll assist with ghost tours and take
Oh,
people.
nice.
And it's so quite familiar with the area. And of course, that particular area being so close to us, we take quite a few cases. And, one of the big arguments that a lot of people have is about ley line. Which
Right.
Yeah.
And by definition, we don't have ley lines in North America. They're not.
Oh, really? I heard different, but what do you think they are? Where are they?
The only place that you have ley lines are going to be in Europe or in the UK in that particular region. And
really,
the reason I say that is because by definition, a ley line is a physical line that you can see the imprint. And when you look at it from like an aerial map, you're going to physically see that line in the terrain. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's a physical line.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah, I didn't know that either.
And so that's something that a lot of people that I've talked to were not aware of. So it's interesting. But no, that's not to say we don't have energy lines in North America, because we've got quite a few. But
well, maybe that's what I was thinking.
Right. We have there's what they call black lines that are they work similarly to a ley line, except
Dita said, I thought ley lines were spiritual, paranormal, I guess. No, they are magnetical.
Right.
They are, ley line research is really fairly recent. It was a Dr.
The Earth is
Tompkins.
crisscrossed with magnetical bands, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's what ley lines basically are. And usually where they cross that is where you have a high amount of weird activity goes on,
Mm-hmm.
or you may feel a high energy, entering your body if you're standing on a crossing point, and there's usually, that's where the Mayans and the Incas and all them built their cities, was on these ley lines, because they knew of the power of the ley lines.
Well,
where the ley lines crossed and stuff like that.
And I'll tell you something really, really interesting about ley lines is when you look into them, they've only been researched for less than 100 years. They were originally researched starting in the late 20s by a British researcher. I want to say that his name was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Dr. Tillman or Tompkins. One of the two. I would have to look it up to tell you for sure.
And I find that's weird, because some places I heard, like, some castles were built on ley lines.
Yes.
Like, that are hundreds of years old. How would they know to build there?
What's funny about it is how these people knew about it before anybody ever researched any of that stuff. The Incas and the Mayans, and, they all knew about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. How would they know?
Hey, Toby.
The popular theory is that the ancients, when they built some of these sites, actually created the ley lines as part of a system to connect the monolithic and megalithic sites together, because the ley lines.
And they built these sites on a astronomical layout too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that gets into math.
Yeah. And how did they know this? These people back then, they built their temples and everything aligned with Orion's belt and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird, because you have it in Europe and then you have it in South America. Those people really didn't connect back in the day,
Right.
So I wondered, how did they...
That's when you get into the planetary grid system.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm a learner at this point.
You have several different types of you have several different types of energy lines like that. Some have been scientifically proven, some haven't.
Okay.
And, like, have you ever heard of a Schumann wave?
Who?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
A Schumann wave is a naturally occurring magnetic wave that follows a line path. They go, they go longitudinally, latitude, and they go diagonally across Earth's surface, and they follow a very similar frequency to the same brainwave pattern that our brains put off. And something that's very, very neat is when you research those, you'll find that NASA has looked into them to the point they put Schumann wave generators in the space shuttles because they found that when people are, like on long flights, they're at such a high altitude above the reach of the Schumann waves, along with the metal shielding from the plane's fuselage, that a lot of researchers believe that that's why they experience so much jet lag.
Wow. That's I mean, you know, when NASA is involved, that they're not messing around. You know, they know what they're doing.
Right. I could talk for hours about that because that's something that's always fascinated me, but something for everyone to look up.
Yeah.
Is archaeoastronomy.
Oh, okay. I'm going to write that down. Nice.
And
Toby brought up, and he's right, though, back in the, when the Mayans were doing that and the Incas were doing that, and even some of the people when they built castles and stuff, they went by the word of the priest, and the priest is the one that understood that these special forces were at work in these areas.
Right. Well, I was going to say, priests are very spiritual people. Wouldn't they have a little? I mean, I don't know. If they're the ones preaching to the people, then they have to know something to preach about, which means they look into it. They spend their lives looking into it. So wouldn't they know more than other people?
And like what we have here in the States is, to say that we don't have ley lines doesn't mean we don't have any type of energy lines, because we have black lines, we have the Hartman lines, or what's sometimes called the Hartman waves. There's so many things that we do have. There's Curry lines.
See, I don't even know about any of those, which is why I could be just thinking, ley lines, but a different name. Like I was saying, people name things different things, and if I've never heard that name before, I'd be just automatically thinking ley lines.
Right.
So
And,
that's something for me to look into.
Right, but I'll tell you something fascinating. When you look into the history of ley lines, is now they definitely have some type of mysterious energy to them. There is something about the ley lines, and because when the initial researcher, I wish I could think of his name, and I will probably as soon as I hang up.
That is how it works.
Right. Alfred Watkins, that was his name. Alfred Watkins.
Oh, okay.
When he was looking into the ley lines, he had a slight curiosity, and he went about it from a very skeptical point of view. Okay. Well, as he's looking into them, he never described it in great detail, but he had some type of very strange experience that completely changed his perspective on it. And all of a sudden, he had all of this knowledge about how they worked and everything else. And he even named the people he said that the people that made the ley lines were called Dodman. And he starts coming up with all of these details.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Right. So, but he never would talk about it. So it makes you wonder, what type of profound spiritual experience did he have from working with these ley lines?
See, the question I would have is, I myself believe, of course, that we are made up, which is the fact of energy. We are made of energy. So wouldn't being over some type of energy, you'd be drawn to it? You know,
Absolutely.
and spirits, of course, are made out of energy, so they would be drawn to it. So that might be, you know, right there explains kind of why there might be more spiritual activity at those points.
Right. Well, and those human waves that we're talking about, like this
Yeah.
goes along with what you were saying. If they operate on such a similar frequency that to our own brain waves, that it can affect our body's systems, and when we're not exposed to them, can cause headaches, nausea, and all this.
It's true. That's true.
You know, maybe that's part of the explanation for collective
Well,
consciousness.
some people do get sicknesses
Hello, Tim.
and stuff like that.
Welcome.
Tim.
So,
Hello, Tim.
So, and if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm like a huge science geek. So
my husband would love
this
this.
stuff for fun.
Yeah, my husband would love this. He's into ancient aliens and all that kind of stuff and outer space. And actually, Roger Belt knows this, but my husband's a Trekkie. He loves Star Trek and all that kind of anything to do with planets and astronomy, all that kind of stuff. That's my husband.
You know, so a conversation I had just a few days ago. How many things have we seen that got predicted on Star Trek and shows like that have actually?
I've heard of that.
You know,
I have heard of that.
Okay, you know, on the original Star Trek in the '60s, they had the communicators that would allow them to talk to. They could talk to the ship, or they could talk to each other from anywhere on the planet. And at that time, that was just amazingly such a radical idea that it had to be, you know, hundreds of years in the future.
Exactly. Well, they do say that science fiction is actually science that hasn't happened yet. A lot of people that think science fiction, they think it's fake, but a lot of it is based on things that are already happening. There's a lot of fact in it. Hello, caller.
He says hello.
Yeah, I'm back again.
Welcome back, Greg.
Right.
I missed you.
I know. I had to listen to Bo's Christmas songs there, you know. So. And then I just went through my computer a little bit to see what's new. I seen some postings on it are pretty cool. So,
welcome back. We have Frank on the line here, and we're talking about all kinds of interesting things like ley lines and science fiction.
Yeah, I heard about ley lines and that. Yeah, I went through, I went to some couple of things there where they did mention about ley lines, and they were teaching about those. But those are really interesting.
Frank.
Well, I learned we don't have any ley lines in America. I didn't know that.
Right.
You guys just did an investigation. Did y'all get it?
It was quite interesting. It was one of the more active locations that we've investigated. At this one particular place, and this is kind of the reason I brought up the fact about ley lines sites being connected. Even though we don't have ley lines here, we do have those energy lines that do connect sites. This place is close to Sloss Furnace. It's close to a mine that had a huge explosion, killed quite a few people. And all along, you can draw a line if you look at it on the map, and you can see this particular place that we investigated, along with, I can think off the top of my head, about 5 others that had elevated amounts of activity, are all in pretty much a direct straight line.
Wow.
You have Sloss, you've got the mines, and you've got these 5 locations. So it's unreal, but they really do connect. But that particular investigation, we had, give you a little history on the place. It was built right around the turn of the century. And over the years, and this is not at one time, this has just been happening with one owner and another owner and another owner. As the house has changed hands, there have been what's known to be at least 5 different murders in this area.
Oh, boy. That's a lot.
Sounds like a good place.
Probably. And there's been about 4 other suspicious deaths in the place that were never ruled as a murder. But
wow.
So quite an active location.
Yeah, you wonder what causes that type of thing. You know, some places you do get more murders and more illnesses and more, strange things than other places. Is there something behind that? You know?
Right. It's, it's definitely interesting. We had, not long after we set up, a fenced-in yard and everything there, so we're trying to, get everything going. We've secured the area. Now, when we do our investigations, we always have the homeowner there because I'm a firm believer I look at it from more of the parapsychology side of the house. I believe the owner needs to be there because you hear those stories where
at least one should be there.
Right. One person moves in, they report no activity at all. Next person moves in, it's Amityville horror all over again.
Well, you wonder if the people are haunted and not the place, or if they're adding to it.
Right.
Versus when they're not there. Yeah.
What about them as the catalyst?
Another thing that I believe is that it sometimes depends on the person that moves in there. If the spirits there don't like this person, they're going to act up more than they would normally.
Right.
Absolutely.
Or if they have something bad attached to them, Some people don't even realize that they have something bad attached to them. They just think they have bad luck.
And then again, if this spirit is trying to get somebody to listen and, say owner number one pays them no attention and they act, really bat crap crazy and run them off, then the next one moves in and they try to get their attention and that don't work and the same thing happens. Eventually, they're waiting for the person to move in there that's actually going to listen and help them out.
Well, like Cheryl just said, or they're sensitive, which I'm a sensitive. I get a lot of activity from me,
right.
And I don't know. Some people are messengers, they don't even realize that they are. But if you think of it like if you're in a pitch black area and there's one little beacon of light, you're going to go towards that light because that's the only place that you know where to go. Everything else is black. So you could be a beacon,
Toby, a house with two owners. If the first owner didn't listen, maybe if you're talking about your house, you're the one that's supposed to listen.
Well, and something else that I believe too is maybe if someone moves in that a spirit there could relate to.
Yes.
Maybe they had a similar personality. That's just one of my personal theories. But we always we always have at least one of the owners there when we do an investigation, and we try to go about it that way. And as we're setting up, everything's secured. Well, everybody sees a man walking through the backyard that is not supposed to be there.
Wow.
So, and me being the lead investigator there, it's my job to make sure that area stays secured and is safe. So this guy goes around the side of the house into the alleyway, and this area is still fenced in. So I go out the front door of the house, and around the side of the house, I'm going to catch him in the alley to confront him and see, hey, what are you doing on this property? And when I get there, he's not there. And there are 5 people that sit there and that are watching to see where he goes. This man vanishes into thin air. But we all seen him so plainly that every one of us thought that it was a real flesh and blood human being.
Nobody got it on camera, I guess.
No, unfortunately not. It was
that?
right as we were setting up, and that seems to be the way that it usually goes.
Yeah, don't you hate that? You don't have a camera in your hand when you see it. It's like, what? Where's the camera? Oh, crap, he's gone.
Right. But it was just that it never occurred to me that this is a spirit that I'm looking at. It was, hey, what's this guy doing on this property? This is supposed to be sealed off. So, we had that, tons of EVPs. I mean, just unreal. At one point, some of the people who were murdered there were well, actually, most of them were murdered in the basement of this house. And there were several that were chained up in this basement.
Wow.
And they were chained in there and tortured for several days before they were killed.
Dang.
The chain that they were chained to is still in this basement. One of them was a hiker. His bedroll and pack is still in this basement, and he was murdered there in the 80s.
Dang.
So you can imagine just the residual energy in itself.
Exactly. And you guys did have a camera set up there, right?
We did have a camera set up there. We got a few interesting anomalies on film. One of the strangest things that we had happen, this was a personal experience. I was in the basement with one of the investigators, and me and her doing a session with the SB7 spirit box, and we're sitting with it and it's pitch black in there. So all of a sudden, as we're asking these questions, we hear this voice so close to our ears. Me and her standing right next to each other, and we hear a voice so close that the breath moves the hair on the outside of our ears. Those little hairs there. And when you feel someone whisper really close, and this voice says, "Get out of the basement."
Wow.
And we both heard it.
Did you capture that?
No, but it was too low to capture it over, because of the SB7 going. But that was a disembodied voice that was heard audibly. So
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I still, like I said, the first and only one I've ever heard, I heard in my son-in-law's front yard, and it was a trip because we were just walking up through there, and it just came like right out of the air, and we're both like, "Did you do that?"
Me and you had talked, here a few weeks ago about doing something at Sloss sometime.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
I want to go. Sorry.
Sloss is one of those places.
I'll go too.
It is awesome. It is an awesome
I always
place.
wanted to go. Yeah. Well, I heard there's another place not too far from Sloss. That's right close to it, like a railroad station, something to do with a railroad. That's supposed to be very haunted.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, there's actually several good places around Birmingham to investigate.
Frank, we have to try to work this out where we can get together, hopefully sometime, and check out a few places and everything.
You're forgetting
Especially Sloss. I would love to go, you and I and whoever, to go and check out Sloss. That'd be awesome.
Right.
That would be something.
And for anyone listening that, maybe if you're passing through Birmingham, I'll give you a little fact about Sloss. You can pay for an overnight investigation. I think the cheapest that you're going to get, it's like $600-800 if you do it overnight.
Whoa.
It's quite expensive. But
that's a little bit more than I could do. I guess I won't get to Sloss.
Well, if people chip in, if you get a group to go with you and everyone chips in.
Well, now here's the wonderful thing about Sloss. Sloss is a public. It is a public historical park now.
Okay. Oh, good.
It is open to the public. I believe they're closed on Mondays, but if I'm not mistaken, Tuesday through Sunday they're open from, I believe, like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and you can get in there for free.
Oh, that's awesome! I didn't even realize that.
Go around and investigate during the daytime, then.
Right, you can go in the daytime, and I will say this: I've been in the daytime, and and you've heard this plenty of times before, anyway. That ghosts aren't they don't set their alarm clocks.
No, they don't.
Right.
I have had plenty of things happen during the day.
Right.
I've seen full apparitions during the day.
Right. They don't say, "Oh, well, it's 11 p.m. We better start moving some stuff around and throwing things. They don't do that. And Sloss is that way. I have in the tunnel at Sloss.
Oh yeah.
Most people, if you've seen Sloss, documentary, seen it on one of the ghost shows, whatever, everybody knows the tunnel. I've captured a full-bodied apparition in the tunnel.
Wow.
Broad
that must have been
daylight.
cool.
Show me that.
It's another photo I had. You see a full-bodied apparition in one of the windows looking out. Broad daylight.
I would love to see that.
So
that is cool.
Just because you want to go during the day for free versus paying $800 to go all night.
Right.
Don't think that it's going to affect your results.
Exactly. Like I said, I've gotten plenty of things during the day. Plenty of things. Full body apparitions, voices, everything.
And
is that $800 for a group, or is that $800 for a person down there?
That's for a group, and the rates kind of vary depending on how many are in your group.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay.
It wouldn't be too bad,
Right.
So the larger your group, basically, the better rates you're going to get.
Right.
Right. Kind of the better rate per person if you split it up, but the more total cost. Because what they look at is how many security guards are they going to have
I was going to say, they kind of have to think of insurance and security and all that.
Yeah, Rolling Hills out our way, the asylum over there charges $1,000 a night for your own private group. But like I say, if you split it up, it's not too bad.
Right. That's and right around Birmingham, there's several sites. There's the Lynn Henley Library, or the Birmingham Public Library, is one of the haunted places that's noted, and it's only a few miles away. There's the Rail Depot.
Isn't that funny? Because I find a lot of libraries are haunted. You always hear about haunted libraries for some reason.
I've kind of got right. That kind of my personal theory on that is I don't think it's the building as much as I can't help but wonder, is it related to some of the old books that are in there?
Yeah, I'm thinking there's a lot of history in libraries. They have a lot of artifacts and a lot of antiques. How do you know things aren't attached to them? I don't know. That's very strange. See, look at this. Even Dita said she used to own a bookstore, and very weird things happen there. Schools also. Like Toby just brought up. What about schools? There's a lot of haunted schools.
So, Frank, you and I are going to have to just go to places that don't charge you arm and a leg.
Right.
Do it the redneck way.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll do it the redneck way. Do it for free. There's plenty of places. I just believe there's so many places that are haunted. I really don't need a fancy name to go there. I go right to the local cemetery and places like that. I went to the battlefield that was near me, and a lot of these places are free.
Right, and battlefields, you can get some of the most amazing EVPs. Those.
Wow, Roger knows my story about the battlefield.
Yeah,
I had something very special happen there.
There's several of those I want to go to, and there's two or three that I've been to. I want to go, of course, to Gettysburg.
I think that's everybody's number
Chickamauga.
one. Yes, you have to go to Chickamauga.
I have been to Shiloh.
Ooh.
I've been to Dover, where they had the cannons on the river down there. I've been to the one over in Kentucky where they had the chain across the river.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
Because the ironclads that come up the river, set so low in the water, they put that chain that was under the water, you couldn't see it.
Wow.
But it would, stop the ironclads from getting up the river.
Huh. That's interesting.
It's pretty cool. But the sad thing about it is all those places, when I went to them, I wasn't into paranormal research at that time, so I didn't have it with me to try to capture anything.
Well, no, I can say this.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say from experience, if you can find out when they're having a Civil War reenactment and time your investigation for, sometime immediately following that, oh my God, it's off the charts.
Exactly. That's what happened to me when I seen full body apparitions at the battlefield.
We had one about 12, 14 miles from where I live. There's a place where they do a reenactment and everything. And I was there at one of the reenactments one time. And I took pictures like right at the end of it and everything, but I didn't capture nothing. But maybe I should have waited a little longer. But of course, when you got the wife and kids with you, they're like, I want to go home. I'm ready to go.
That's what we do, Roger. Don't pick on wives. That's what we do.
Roger, are you talking about the Murfreesboro battlefield?
No, I'm talking about a little old unknown place in Greenfield, Tennessee.
Okay. I knew you.
It must be unknown. I didn't hear about it.
Okay, because I've checked out the one at Murfreesboro before, and it was.
And they do one at a place called Parks Levee or something like that, which is east of me, I believe. It's a little stretch, but it's not that far.
Yeah, we get them up here, too. They do it at the local fort. We have a fort that was actually, even though I'm up north in Massachusetts, Robert E. Lee helped to build this fort. So it's pretty interesting. That's where I had told of a story, I think the last time we were on the air, about when me and my son went there with my daughter-in-law. And this was one of I don't know, everybody's had these kind of stories, but when we were walking down one of the tunnels, now this place, of course, it goes down about 3 or 4 levels. People don't realize this. And it's full of old jail cells. And it's dangerous. Of course, you're not supposed to go in there. Shh, don't tell anybody. But we did. This is long before I started getting into it. Seriously, we just were investigating on our own, but we brought down, my son had a spotlight, and me and my daughter-in-law had flashlights. And once we got down far enough into the tunnel, it is so black you really can't see your hand in front of your face. It's scary. You kind of want to hyperventilate because it's that black in there. You're afraid because there's holes in the floor, there's metal beams hanging down, there's wires, and there's no lights. And just when I was telling him that I was sensing something, because I'm sensitive, and I kind of, you kind of feel like something's breathing on your neck. Like, it's a weird feeling that you walk in there like, okay, the air's different right now. And you kind of just, you try to look around, but you can't see anything. And I had my flashlight, and I was just about to tell him something, and my flashlight went out. And I'm like, all right, this isn't good. And I told my son, I said, Gary, my flashlight's out. And all of a sudden, his spotlight went out, and so did my daughter-in-law's flashlight. We were standing there in pitch black in a tunnel that was dangerous, with holes in the floors. And you kind of want to cry and wet yourself at the same time. But you're kind of trying to keep cool, like, well, we're going to be okay. Yeah. But really inside you're panicking. That was me. And I told my son, I said, I don't like this. I'm hyperventilating. I'm starting to hyperventilate. I really need to get out of here, and I don't know how. And he's like, Ma, calm down. And he did. He let us out there. We finally seen the pinhole of light. And we were, I think every investigator at one point or another, if you've ever had your lights go out or anything like that, you know what I'm talking about. It's because you're going into dangerous places sometimes as it is. These places are places that are very old a lot of times, sometimes even condemned. They don't allow public in there sometimes. And so you're really taking your own risks going on in. And that's why people think that, it's all like TV, fun and games, going paranormal investigating. It's not really like that sometimes. Sometimes it's for real. And you really do get lost, and you really are in a dangerous place. So you got to think about it. It's not like TV all the time. TV just puts the good stuff on there.
It's funny that you were mentioning that. One time we investigated this old grist mill. It was originally built.
Oh, grist mills! Wow. Okay.
And when we investigated, the owners told us that we could go, and they didn't mind us investigating, but it was under the condition that we were at our own risk.
Exactly.
Yep. And if something major happened to one of us, that they had permission to bury us on site out back and not say a word to anybody else.
There you go. One of those type of things, yeah.
Right. Right. But we had a similar experience with, we were up on the, 3rd story of it.
Oh, heck no.
And yes, a rickety old building. It's been there since, like 1863, and they're in the process of restoring some of it, but still, you had to be extremely careful. Tons of antiques, all of the workings. The grist mill was still functional. So
I know, we have some of those around here too.
And
never mind the floors could be weak. I'm always afraid of weak floors. That's one of my fears, to fall through the floor, because a lot of times you're in the dark and you can't test the floor. I mean, you can test the floor, but you might find out what you don't want to.
Absolutely.
Okay, so anyway, we've gotten way off track again. We were talking about your investigation, and you had told us about seeing the figure walk around the house. Anything else interesting besides the stuff in the basement? And
well, now one thing that we did have happen. We've been beta testing the program EchoVox. If you're familiar.
We talked about that. Yeah.
And I'm still not 100% sold on it, but I'm about 90% there. We were using it, and at this location, we had not only different voices come through, we had different accents come through.
Yeah, we was talking about that.
And there, something that was extremely strange was, but very compelling for us and for the client. We were doing an EchoVox session, and as we're doing it, we hear this British accent come over, and so we asked the client, "Well, does anyone here, was there anyone here that you knew of that would have a British accent?" And she said, "The only person I can think of lived about 2 houses down," and she started describing it and matched it up. And then we had a couple of voices that were coming through in Spanish, and we couldn't hardly make them out at first, but as soon as we started speaking Spanish in response to what was coming through, the EchoVox just started blowing up with responses to it. It was quite active, and just absolutely amazing how it was. But very active location, and we were talking about the books and the objects and things like that earlier. Her activity had ramped up significantly. There was a house directly across the street that no one would stay in. Now, her home had never, she always, from the day she moved in, she knew something was there. But the house directly across the street had a reputation for being extremely haunted too, and no one would stay there for more than just a couple of months. So she had talked to one of the owners, and the owners had moved out, left the house there, didn't get any of their stuff, and so she contacted the owner, and the owner let her have a few things that were in the house. So she brings those things out of that house into her house, and almost immediately her activity nearly doubles. So that's just something to think about, because there is something to, objects carrying spirit attachments.
Yeah. And I told you about the EchoVox experiment that I did. I have the EchoVox on my phone, and I also downloaded a white noise app that I ran concurrent with that. And I had it run through a surround sound system. So, and we were getting all kind of crazy stuff, like talking about a grave in the yard, and we asked, how many were there, and they said 3, and we asked for names, and we got 3 names, and just, it was really weird.
Right. That,
Toby's asking, Frank, have you had a chance to do a veteran's house that did combat?
Yes, I have, and I've done several, and at one in particular, we got some very interesting EVPs. He had one of the green ammo cans, or the little metal. For anyone that's not familiar with what I'm talking about, one of those metal boxes that they would store the bullets in. It has the little hinged lid that flips over, and you can slide it down, and it snaps shut. He had one of those with some of his, with a man that he had served with in Vietnam that had some of his personal effects and everything. Well, the man had gotten killed while they were serving together. So the guy that called us, his case was completely unrelated to any activity involving that. But while we were there, we got EVPs that the man swore up and down were that man that he served with's voice.
Wow. That's cool. See, that's unexpected stuff that you get. You don't ever know. When you get called on a case, they may give you certain facts that's going on, but something totally different can pop up out of nowhere.
Well, I'll tell you something similar to that too that I ran into one time. We did a case for a firefighter. He had never had anything go on at his house, and he wasn't having, when he called us, he wasn't having anything strange happen, or excuse me, anything scary happen. He didn't feel threatened. It just seemed strange to him. So he, when he called us, he said, I don't know if it's something electrical, if it's something that's actually paranormal or what, but just, wanted us to come look at it. Well, the only thing that he could figure was, that maybe, someone had died or something, because there was nothing out of the ordinary. Well, when we did the investigation, the EVPs that we got.
Okay, we got.
Oh, there you are again.
Yes. I like how Dita was saying that spirits are messing with me, because I'm telling you, every single time I've done this show, every single time I ask Roger, I have problems with one electronic or another with something's not working. It's every single time I'm doing the show. So it doesn't surprise me. My calls get dropped, the Skype won't work, everything. I'm used to. Sometimes the line is so fuzzy that I can't hear what people are saying and the calls break up. And sometimes we even heard whispering in the background. Nobody can figure out where the whispering has come from. So this doesn't surprise me anyway.
That happened with guests, though.
Greg, are you still in here?
Was a
oh yeah, I'm just listening to
the
stories.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool.
He was
me and my wacky electronics.
Right.
I can't help it. It's my aura.
It's the Christmas spirits.
Yeah. But you guys got to get down to Gettysburg, or up. Well, for you guys, up to Gettysburg. That's down to Gettysburg, where I am.
For me, yeah, down for me.
You too, right? Yeah. And what my son and I did is we went in late September, and they keep the park open till 10 o'clock at night. So you got a lot of nighttime hours there. At that time, it got dark about 7:30 to 10. So we had a lot of time in there to be there after dark. And I tell you, it's one hell of a place to be after the sun goes down. So
okay, y'all, I got to interrupt. We're live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. We're going to be on a short break, but we will return with more interesting stuff.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
We are back. The voting line is open. Everybody be sure to go give us a vote. The link is up there. Let me
That's
see.
right.
Nope, that's
Always vote.
not.
Voting is important.
That was the wrong one.
Yeah, you're giving other people things, Roger.
Well, that's- okay. Well, anyway. Anyway, be sure to go give us a vote. We appreciate it, and we're having an awesome time. Frank Lee, I was a guest on his show, and we had a good old time. And should I tell him about the snake?
Oh, you would be depriving them to not tell them about it.
Anyway, we were doing the show, on Frank's show, and I was telling him about an investigation we did, and these people, they actually showed our founder the drawer they kept their drugs in. So enough said. But anyway, um, the lady was telling him, and they were. I was in another room doing EVP or something, and they were in like the little. It's a double wide trailer, and it had like a little utility room and a back door right there, And Dusty was with her, and she goes, "The snake's wrapped around the tree. It's up on the shelf." And you have to know that we're talking about a 15-foot invisible anaconda here now. So anyway, the snake's around the tree, and she goes, and Dusty, being the kind-hearted guy he is, do anything for a client, right? He's going to get the snake out of the house for him. So he puts his hands up here above the shelf, and he's got them about 6 inches apart, and he goes, "Do I got it?" She goes, "No, it's bigger, it's bigger." So he winds up, and he said, "I had my hands about 10 inches apart, 12 inches apart." He goes, "Do I have it?" "Yeah." So he unwraps the snake from the invisible tree on the shelf, and he's holding it next to his body, right? And he's got his arm on it, and he's got it. And she goes, "You don't have the head. It's biting you right now." And so he moves his hands up to get the head of the snake. And he goes, "Open the door." She goes, "Why?" And he goes, "I can't let go of the snake. You got to open the door." So she opens the door, right? And he drags this invisible 15-foot snake out of the house. And he's telling her that he has this dead convict spirit that hangs around him all the time. And he says, "Okay, convict, kill that snake." And he tells her, "You don't have to worry. The snake won't ever come back in your house again." But that's one of those, you don't never know what you're going to find when you go on an investigation like that.
Right.
But that was funny. I can't help but laughing about the snake every time.
Right. And for the record, unless you're...
Caller, you're online.
All right, thanks. It's me. My phone got dropped again.
Oh, well,
my call.
Me.
Yes, my call got dropped again. I'm serious. This keeps happening to me. It's nothing I can control. Okay. I can talk to anybody else in the world.
So you missed the whole thing about the snake then, didn't you?
Oh, come on. What did I miss? Tell me. Oh, I missed everything.
I can't go through all that again.
Come on. I'll have to listen to it. I'm going to listen to the show later anyway.
Anyway, Frank, go ahead.
Well, for the record, I don't think you really have to worry about the 15-foot invisible anacondas unless you're in the tropical regions of Tennessee or.
And we talked about that. I don't think we have any tropical regions in Tennessee.
Okay, all right, I got you. I'm with you on this one. All right.
Anyway,
I feel
story
safe.
short, Betsy, we did an investigation where a lady claimed to have an invisible 15-foot anaconda in her house.
Did she own swampland too?
Anyway,
how much did she have to drink?
Yeah, I was going to say.
But like I said, her husband had showed my partner the drawer they kept their drugs in earlier, so, enough said. But anyway.
Right.
Anyway, he got the invisible snake out of the house for her and had his invisible dead convict spirit kill it for her so it wouldn't come back in the house.
I would have had way too much fun with that. I would have had way too much fun with that one. I'm glad I didn't go.
We left that place and we stopped at the McDonald's in town there, and we all parked over there, and we got out and he was demonstrating how he got the invisible snake out of the house. I had tears running down my face. I was laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was going to say, being like a team, an actual team, you must have kinds of crazy calls. You have to screen them.
You never know what you're going to run into, okay?
I know that's for sure.
I told Frank about this, and I think I talked about it on the show that night. One that everybody in the house was gifted.
Oh, yeah.
And
aren't we all?
and then we got called back there 2 or 3 times, 4 times, I can't remember. But the last time Dusty went by himself, I think, and he said, yeah, the daughter was telling there's 7 or 11 portals in my bedroom, and it's like 10 by 12, right? She goes, there's one in the closet. There's one in the closet, and I hear scratching on the wall. And he said, I open the closet door, and the first thing I see is a mouse hole down there about 2 inches wide.
Nice.
I think I found the portal. I don't know what's scratching at the wall.
If they're gifted, couldn't they handle it themselves?
But that was funny. And,
not that gifted.
Oh my gosh!
Had told us that. Well, the first time we was there, she told us that she was gifted also, right? And then another time when another guy was there, she told me that the Native American spirits in her family didn't know that she knew she had the gift. But since they know she has the gift, they're going to give her even more gift.
I see.
Yeah, we were just, oh, man. I said, you remember that other house we got to be at in about 30 minutes? We need to be getting going.
Oh, my gosh. There are so many. I've dealt with all kinds of things, all kinds of people. It's kind of like, are you serious? You try not to get upset at them. I try to, handle it in a professional type of way and not insult anybody.
Oh, and
but that's exactly what I'm thinking is, are you serious?
About, we were sitting out on the front steps, and me and her were sitting out there, and Dusty came out there, and she was talking about all these spirits she was seeing. She goes, there's a guy walking across the road over, and she's waving, and she's sending all these people into the light, right? And there's one coming up
Yes. I know.
But,
my mom is a Reiki master. My mom's a Reiki master, and she used to have her own shop. She does massage therapy, and she used to have a psychic fair once a month. And she would have all these. My mother used to call her Crazy Fingers for a nickname. But she used to have all kinds of people at this psychic fair, and I'm talking all kinds of people. And I'd have to sit there with pet whispers and everything else, which I believe some people can do that. That's plausible. But at the same time, some of these people, you just look at them like, are you serious? You run into all kinds of people. And just because somebody says they have gifts, they're not any different from other people. Sometimes people are just crazy.
Right.
And that includes people with gifts. Now,
Frank, you got to tell us about one of your funny experiences now, since we've already let our cats out of the bag.
Well, you're talking about crazy people. I swear there's one of those little sheets of paper with the phone number at the bottom and the little strips cut where you can take one with the number on it. Oh,
yeah, okay.
That has my team's number on it, and they post it up at the nut house right as they go out the door.
You got to wonder how many people really aren't crazy, that they call crazy, but really are not. That nobody would listen to them. There's also a couple of people like that in there.
Right. One in particular that comes to mind was a call that I got. And this is one of those times where I was glad that the team sticks primarily to hauntings. This guy calls up, and he is scared that the government is after him.
No.
Because he is a human-alien hybrid
Oh my gosh, I've heard so many stories like this.
And the government is after him because they're wanting to do experiments on him, and they're wanting to keep him quiet. So they're sending out. He's having these terrible headaches, and the doctors are giving him these drugs to keep him sedated, to keep him quiet. And the headaches are coming from these biological weapons that the government is using to, to punish him for not coming back to the base where they can do experiments on him. And, it's about this point in... that would have been the most believable part of the call. And by this time, I'm ready to put my tinfoil hat on just in case, because I was on the I didn't know if some of those waves might bleed over through the phone or not. I was kind of worried.
The thing about it is, how many people have mental problems that you're dealing with? Do they really believe this stuff's true? That's the thing.
Right.
They're totally serious,
Right, and that's the way this guy was. Well, then he went on to tell me that he was actually that he had studied everything in the Bible and everything out of this book and everything else, and how he was being prepped to be the new Messiah, and that's why the government was trying to get to him.
Oh, I've heard all kinds of things like this.
And
it's kind of... And what if some of it was true? We would never believe people if they were true because it's so incredible. But at the same time, you don't know who's crazy and who isn't. Or am I crazy? Am I the crazy one? Maybe they're telling the truth. I don't know.
I seem to have question there that asked if he was Napoleon too. I'm not sure, but if I'd talked to him long enough, he may have been.
He was right. He might have been.
Nicholas too, if you talked to him long enough.
It's one of those calls where you get off the phone and you're questioning your own sanity.
You kind of smack your forehead a few times.
Right, you're sitting there with your aluminum foil hat on, and you're having a shot or two to
oh my God.
He didn't call you from
you go look in the mirror and you go, mirror on the wall.
He didn't call you from a group home, did he?
Right. And at this time, this was before I retired from the Army. So, I had to go into work on a military base the next day. And it's like, oh.
Nice. Okay. So you're looking at everybody funny?
They're going to know.
Note to self. Oh, my God.
I was trying to hide my aluminum foil hat up under my patrol cap.
Oh, my gosh.
You go on face and salute with your aluminum foil hat on. And sir.
It's really hard. It's really hard. Some people might have mental disabilities, and they're telling, like I said, it's coming from their heart. They're telling the truth. They believe this stuff is real, and they need help desperately. And how do you determine who's mental and who isn't? That's something, a serious subject, because a lot of these people might believe they're daily tortured, tortured daily.
I had a friend one time, and this is no joke. He's passed away now, but
poor thing.
I remember him telling me one time, he goes, they give me a check because they said I'm crazy. He said, I think they're crazy for giving me a check.
Well, some people do fake it. We were just talking about this week, Roger. Some people do fake it.
Exactly.
And that's a huge problem.
You notice all the new stuff, right? About, well, first it was the brother who's having problems, and then now all of a sudden it's the 13-year-old niece trying to jump off a bridge. And
I feel bad because it's like, is this person telling the truth?
Right.
And I'm just, you don't know. But at the same time, you have your attention seekers that want someone to come investigate because they're just being totally tortured by a demon and they need help immediately. And you find out it's a story that's happened to me time after time after time after time, right, where people that swear they have a demon that's possessing them and everything else, destroying their lives, they're just, there's nothing behind it. Well, you ask them the sources of who investigated, what's the date they came. There's no answer.
whenever you have a person that's saying they are possessed by a demon, and then in the next sentence talk about how they're praying about it and everything, that's a demon ain't going to let you pray about nothing. If they're possessing you, you're not going to be saying anything that has to do with our Father in heaven.
You're going to be saying 4-letter words is what you're going to be saying with a big exclamation points after it, because you're possessed. You know, that's what I'm thinking anyway. I've never been possessed that I know of. Some of my ex-boyfriends might deny that. But at the same time, you know, I've never been possessed.
You know, I don't know. You're going to be doing any praying if you're possessed by a demon. Somebody might be praying over you, but you ain't going to be praying.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. When you're possessed, do you, like, black out that you can't remember what you're saying and doing? Or, because that's the impression I'm getting, is that you're not in your right mind.
That's what most of the demonologists that I've talked to have said, is that during these episodes that in the biggest majority of cases, what happens when people are supposed to be under possession, they have no account of it afterward.
Right. Well, that's what I always learned. So, I mean, when people say they're possessed to me, I'm like, how are you talking straight to me if you're possessed? Aren't you supposed to be blacking out? You know?
And they're talking about, you know, well, I'm okay. And then it went from being possessed to being partially possessed, and she was told this by a priest.
So at what point in the story did she become repossessed?
But anyway, and now this person,
it drains you. It drains me. That's what I was telling Roger about. Is I feel sorry because I don't know, is she telling the truth and I'm not listening?
You know,
and it's draining me physically.
Not only is it, you know, that this person is possessed or whatever, but I finally got to the point where I said, you know, okay, I don't know. I'm a demonologist. I don't know about that stuff.
That's why I was trying to refer to somebody, because I'm not qualified to do that.
And her boyfriend was messaging me and saying, something happened to her last night. And I'm like, what? And he repeated it 2 or 3 times. Something happened to her last night. And finally he says, well, a spirit was trying to pull her off the bed. I said, well, did the spirit pull her off the bed? No, but it was going to. I said, how do you know? She told me. Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask is,
you know,
if it was going to pull her off the bed, which I've seen things like that happen for real. I mean, I've really seen things like that. I hadn't heard about it happening before. It's not impossible.
You know,
but wouldn't you know, like,
she says, don't you pull me off this bed. It's just going to quit and go, oh my God.
I'm wondering, like, how is that a maybe? You're either pulled off the bed or you're not pulled off the bed. You know, it's not like I feel like I'm being pulled off the bed. You either are being pulled off the bed, or you're not pulled.
And when I say this, you know, if and I seriously think that it's an attention thing, I really do. But if I'm wrong, you know, I hope the powers that be.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. What if I'm wrong?
But you know? Anyway, I've gotten to the point, and I told, just like I told him, you know, my health ain't that great, and I'm not a demonologist, and, you know, I can't deal with all this stuff right now. So, you know, you need to get a priest. And
I don't know. I wanted to get help if she needs help.
Yeah.
I'm not the person to help. I am not the person to help. I'm the person to help you find help, but I'm not the person that can help.
And, you know, I've even been looking, you know, for teams with a demonologist on board, you know, to try to help her out and stuff. And,
right. Toby, you say you can help? I am electing you to take care of this person. You can have the job because I don't know what I'm doing with it. Good. You say you can. Thank God. Angel singing. Because this is really, I mean, I've dealt with demons before. I've dealt with demons itself, not with people that are dealing with demons. Because everybody in my experience that has dealt with demons and been possessed has turned out to not have any at all.
Toby, I will give you Message me later. I'll give you her name and stuff. You can send her a friend
Thank
request, and
God.
maybe you can help her out, and that'd be great.
Because if she needs help, yes. If she needs help, I want her to get it. I'm the type of person that can't sleep unless I know. I can't turn my back on people. I mean, right now there's a lot of ifs, but there's also an if I'm wrong.
It's iffy to the point you don't know whether to believe it or not, and that's sad
Right.
because if she really does need help, I want her to get help.
But at the same time, if she doesn't need the help, I've wasted all this time where I could be helping other people. I've turned down like 3 people for help.
That's
it is a touchy thing. You're right.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I've had demons after me before. I have dealt with demons before. So I know exactly what it is, and it is draining and it's scary. I was scared to the point where I didn't want to go in the kitchen to go get a cup of coffee or go to the bathroom by myself. That's the type of fears I was having because this thing was biting me, clawing me, breathing on my neck. And that's what I would love if you called in, Toby. That would be awesome because I have dealt with demons, and what I'm hearing from this person is not like what I dealt with. Let's see. I have the number right here. Do you have it, Roger? Let me see.
It's up in the.
All right. I got it right here in front of me. Let's see. I should know it by heart by now. I have to call in every 15 minutes. Yeah,
Where'd
demons.
Frank
See, it's hard.
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay.
He's fascinated by my story, and he doesn't know what to say.
Well, you know, I was when you were talking about how demons, how a lot of the cases that you've investigated turned out to be no demon at all. I was just thinking how a lot of times from my experience, I've seen that the biggest majority of cases that I've investigated personally, where they suspected it was demonic activity, was actually a poltergeist that was being mistaken for it.
Right. Demons are different. I can tell you because I've dealt with spirits my whole life. I seen my first spirit when I was 2 years old. I've had it in my life my whole life. And this thing that was after me was not a regular spirit.
Right.
This thing I could see because I'm sensitive. I could sense this thing was pure evil, and I was scared of my own shadow. And I'm not like that. I'm not scared of anything, basically, except for this thing. When this thing was, like I said, I woke up with bite marks. I had scratch marks in places that I could never reach. They were all in one pile, real skinny, like a cat's type of, like that thin. And just even nightmares, physical sicknesses. I felt this thing breathing on my neck where my hair would move from the breath. This thing was very real, and it's not a regular spirit. Now, when you have a demon after you, I had such bad insomnia that my eyes were pitch black because people could tell that something was wearing me down. You know, I didn't have much room for being happy and cheerful.
Okay.
Is this Toby? Hello.
Hello.
Is this Toby?
Hello.
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 It sure is. Hello, Roger. Hello, Betsy.
Frank.
Hello, Toby. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, Toby.
Yeah, we got Frank here too.
Hey, how you all doing?
Doing good right now. If my
hi,
phone will
Frank.
stay
I'm doing great.
Hey, let me tell you, I've dealt with.
I'm hanging out here in
I've
the
been
background.
on different investigations dealing with so-called possessions.
Yeah. I have I have about 3 people right now that are needing my help.
We have found out that 80% of them are. Yeah, we found out that 80% of them are psychological.
Right. What do you mean by psychological? Do you mean in their head?
In their
or
head.
do you mean...
And when you're dealing with... Yeah, it's in their head. Okay, let's break down the word demon. Demon is a word that is so misinterpreted that we all have our own demons.
Right.
Okay, i.e., alcoholism is a demon, drug use is a demon,
Or even guilt.
different. I mean, the list on and on and on.
It's anything negative. I think anything negative.
When the possession, yeah, well, the possession that I've dealt with, I was literally watching scratches being done on the family members, each and every single one of them, right in front of my eyes.
Exactly. It happened to me just sitting at the table. They would well up right in my arm in front of people.
Yeah. What I found out is it wasn't a demon, it was an elemental.
Oh. Now, what's the difference for the people that wouldn't know that?
So when you're dealing with an elemental, yeah, see, that's the thing. When you start dealing with the term demon, you got to really break it down. I mean, this is coming from a medical standpoint of it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. On the when you're dealing with the paranormal, we look at it as a demon, a bad spirit, a bad entity, so forth. However, I have yet to run into a demon, a full blown out demon. I've run into elementals, which have a mission, a job, and that's to create havoc within the human world.
Okay, so elementals are not demons.
How do you get rid of that? Well, that's when you need to call in, honestly,
Elementals are not demons, then, just to make that clear. Like they're two different things?
Correct.
Okay.
They are not.
Okay.
You're talking two different arenas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
You need to get a hold of a psychic medium that could actually track it down.
Okay. Now, what's the difference between an elemental and a demon?
A sensitive's going to feel it. Elemental, you're dealing with fire, water, earth.
Oh, the elements.
All the solid elementals that create up elements.
Okay.
Right. The one that I have always seemed to encounter is an element of earth.
An element of earth. Okay.
The thing that, how do you get rid of it? Those are a little bit more aggressive. They're more driven to create havoc, to wreak havoc, to do physical harm.
Yeah.
It's a different scenario when you're dealing with it. I mean, when I caught the one on the one investigation, I literally felt like my hands were brand spanking new. Now, how do you get rid of it? You've got to have a psychic medium that has the ability to cast down elementals. They've got to come from the standpoint of a non-religious background.
Frank, do you have any comments to add to that?
Well, I definitely agree with him about the psychological aspect of it. That a lot of it is that. I've seen the physical symptoms of like a person that has been diagnosed with anxiety, depression, things like that. Anxiety has more physical symptoms than emotional symptoms.
Oh, yeah. I was depressed for years, and it made me physically sick.
And I've seen a lot of times that people they would get this fear that they had a demon after them, and the fear would intensify their anxiety. And a lot of times the actual clinical physical effects misunderstood. They were being misinterpreted as being a demonic attack.
Well, put it this way. I would say before when I had to...
poltergeist cases many, many, many times.
Oh, yeah. You know, when I had to go to therapy before because everybody was telling me I was crazy. I've been different my whole life, mainly because I am sensitive. That's not something you talk about out in the open a lot of times because people make you think you're crazy. And after my whole life of it, it kind of wore me down. People wanted me to go to therapy. They thought I was sick. So I went. It was the worst 4 years of my life. They put me on medications that I shouldn't have been on, that almost killed me. You know, as soon as I told the doctor that I hear voices, he wants to know if I think the TV's talking to me. And I'm like, no, I hear voices. It's not the same thing. And he's making little notes on his paper. People don't look at you the same way when you bring up certain subjects, and you can't get the proper help that you need, or no help at all. I didn't need any help. I didn't realize that. It's everybody else that doesn't understand. And I think that's a serious issue, too. What happens when you do have gifts or that you are sensitive? You don't fit into the normal world, you know, and it's considered a lot as non-existent or abnormal. And that's not true. And I'm finding out more and more there's a lot more paranormal colleges and metaphysical. There's so many popping up everywhere compared to 20 years ago. You know?
That's right.
So it's
Yeah,
no
it's getting
difference
much more popular.
as a psychic medium.
Excuse me, what was that?
You know, being a psychic medium in a world that's today, let me wing some words to you. Freak. Weirdo.
Yeah.
Need of psychological help.
Yeah, yes.
And let me throw this one at you. Here's a good one. You're a sinner.
Yeah, sometimes, but see, living here in Massachusetts, we're pretty open with religion. I talked to Roger about this because I lived down in Georgia for a while, and it's a whole different ball game living in the Bible Belt than it is here. This is where I live in Massachusetts is extremely cultural, especially near Salem. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of Wiccans, there's a lot of people, you know, no denomination, atheists, Catholics. I'm a Catholic. You know? But that's different to people because we check religious credentials before we decide to be friends. Down south, it was a different story for me. Well, they wanted to know, once people found out I was a Catholic, I'm surprised I wasn't nailed up to something and burnt. I'm serious because I didn't realize till I moved down there that Catholic was a bad thing. I've never heard that in my whole life. And I had people telling me that I need to convert to Christianity, and I'm like, what in the hell are you talking? You know, I'm already a Christian. But they didn't see it the same way. So I think that's a barrier. It's a huge barrier that you can't openly talk about your religion or none at all. Because I welcome every religion or none at all. I don't really care what religion you are, to tell you the truth. That's your own personal thing, whatever makes you. I'm not going to tell you what clothes to wear or what music to listen to or what religion to be. It's none of my business. You know? And I think that's a very hard thing, and it depends whether you can talk to people or not on how the public looks at what religion you are. Can you talk about it openly? And can you talk about when you're having problems or you think you have a demon or, you know, psychic things, paranormal things happening? You know, it depends where you live because, like I said, down in Georgia, I couldn't get the help I needed because everybody thought I was evil. Because I was a Catholic, so I couldn't get the proper help when I did have what I believe a demon after me.
Okay, then why couldn't you get a Catholic priest?
Because there wasn't hardly any Catholic churches where I lived. I lived in the mountains. It took me, I would say, 45 minutes to get to Walmart. I lived in the mountains in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, but I'm saying you couldn't call one up and have them come?
See, I didn't even know of any Catholic churches in the area. I really didn't because the people I had spoken with all wanted me to go to their church, but they weren't my religion. I'm not going to bash any religion because I think that's none of my business if you want to believe in that. That's, you know, it's kind of like painting with your own colors.
Right.
You like red, I like blue.
You couldn't look up a Catholic church closest one to you in a phone book or something and call them up?
See, put it this way. My daughter, when she went to school, the kids found out that we were Catholic. My husband's not. My husband was raised, he's a Christian, but he believes different from me, so he fit in just fine. But us being the outsiders from Massachusetts, finding out that we're Catholic, which I didn't know was a bad thing, they were actually circling around my daughter in school and chanting that she was a devil worshiper wanting to hurt her. I had to go to the principal about it, and the principal stuck up for the kids, saying that you got to understand that they were raised differently. When I went to the principal about this happening to my daughter. So I was in an area that they went back for me. And I didn't realize that I could have looked up a Catholic church because I didn't find any visible. So I kind of felt bad. I was afraid to go for help because I didn't see anybody that was like me.
Have you ever dealt with anything like that, Frank? You just
I can relate to some of what she's talking about there, because I've helped quite a few of our clients that were Catholic, and you know, to me, you know, how anyone would see it as a negative religion is that that's mine.
I heard that before.
Yeah, it's crazy. But one big problem that I've ran into is that most of the Catholic churches here are more conservative.
Yeah.
And
they're a different type of Catholic too. They're not like what I was raised.
Right. Their view on the paranormal is just, you know, it's
evil. All of it's from the devil.
Right. They don't take it seriously. They to get a blessing done, to get you know, and God forbid you needed an exorcism done from they're just not trained to handle that here.
It's not the same way I was raised Catholic. It's a different type of Catholic or something.
And it's not just in the individual parishes. It's from the diocese here. And a lot of times, something else that we ran into was...
Hey, Frank?
Yes. We also had an issue.
Okay, I know we've got the Catholic, but what about the Roman Catholic?
That's kind of about the same type. There's just not many parishes here for them. The ones that are here, you know, are very conservative, kind of. You know, I make the joke all the time, when you cross over into Alabama coming from the Eastern time zone, set your watch back 1 hour in 20 years.
Yes.
You know.
It's true. It was a whole different world for me to move there. It really was. I was not used to it.
They have like the big Catholic church up in New York and stuff, don't they? In
St.
Patrick. Like that.
Yeah.
But a major thing that I've ran into as well is a lot of times the church wasn't willing to help people if they weren't already a member of the parish.
Right.
That's what happened to me too, was down there. People wouldn't give me help because unless I joined the church, then they'd help me.
Right.
And I'm not just joining someone's church for the fact of that. If I don't believe in that, why am I going to go to the church?
Right. And I will say that, you know, we ran into that not only with Catholic, but, you know, with multiple denominations.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hate to do this, but we have gotten way off from work.
That's what's so helpful about...
Weren't we talking about Christmas?
No, actually, we were talking about Frank's investigation, and we got
Frank's
way off on all the other stuff. And
it's been interesting, though.
Yeah, but still, though,
but we got to go on topic. I know.
I've been waiting for 2 weeks to hear about this investigation, so I'm kind of, you know,
well, that's what happened.
Last time we talked was what, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to sip my coffee, and Frank's going to talk. I want to.
Well, Roger, you know that's what happens when you bring an ADD kid on the show and let them talk about
Hey, you know, Frank and I have had some good chats about this stuff and everything, and of course, I want to get down there one of these days. Hopefully, I'll get to get. And one of these days, I'm going to get up there where Toby and Hank and all them are. But I want to get down there to where Frank and them are, and tag along on some stuff and just have a good time because I like I like investigating in different places.
Oh, me too.
This may sound a little weird, but if you investigate in a certain area where you live all the time, even though it may still be active, it does start to get a little old because it's usually the same old stuff over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And you go somewhere else and you run into something that you haven't experienced. That's when it
It's
starts
brand
getting
new.
interesting. Oh, yes, and it gets interesting again. And you're like all gung ho, like, come on, let's go to the next one.
Well, true. Not only that, because where you live, you already heard all the stories, so you're expecting those things.
Exactly.
When you go to somewhere new, you're not expecting that because you don't know it yet. So everything's a surprise when it really does happen. That way you can tell if it's really happening or if it's in your mind.
So I'm waiting to hear about the rest of this investigation that you guys.
Me too. Let me get my coffee.
Right. That particular case was, like I was saying, it was extremely active. And I believe where I'd gotten to when I was talking about earlier, she had brought some objects from the house across the street over. And as soon as she did, it's like the activity she was experiencing almost doubled.
Wow. And she brought it with her over there, right?
What type of things were they?
It was a couple of photographs, just some wall pictures,
Okay.
There was like a small end table, just a couple of little odd things,
figurines?
Nothing really valuable, and a couple of little odd knickknacks.
I'm seeing figurines.
Like
I got a vision of figurines.
Mm-hmm. And when she brought that over, it was like instantly the activity just escalated. And she was somewhat of a pack rat, so she didn't want to get rid of these things. And it right, and so she has this stuff there, and there's all this activity. Well, while we're doing the investigation, we have this EVP session, and some of these spirits start talking about who killed them.
Oh.
We started getting those type of responses coming through the echo box.
Wow.
I mean, they started naming names, dates. It was unreal.
So this is stuff that you could actually look up.
You brought up something about in the basement, something telling you how they were killed or when and how and all that.
Mm-hmm. We actually found out there was an open grave in the basement.
Wow.
Oh, no. Wow.
There was a spot, right there. There was a spot in the basement, and this was not far from where the chain was, that had been dug out a little bit. And you could see the way the basement was. It was an unfinished basement, all dirt floor.
Right.
And set up more like a cellar. And you could tell a discoloration in that dirt from everything else, but you could tell it had not been touched for, quite a while.
Right.
Well, as they were digging through there, she was, I forgot what it was she was going to do, but she had dug through there, and she actually started finding bone fragments.
Wow. And they were confirmed to be human?
Mm-hmm. Had to get the police department involved, and
dang.
So it was quite interesting. That's still an ongoing case.
Oh, really?
And of course,
you got to find
on what goes on.
Did you find out any history on that, on the bones or anything? Could they confirm anything?
We're still waiting on the reports from the police department.
I see. Okay.
So we're kind of held up on that. However, from what we got, as we were doing the EchoVox session, we kind of made the agreement that I offered the the arrangement that they would stick to the basement, let her, reiterated that she was not the person that was living there, that had done those things, the chaining the people up, things like that. And I kind of said, will you stick to this area, let her have the upstairs area of the house, and you respect her space, and let her respect your space here. And she won't come down here unless absolutely necessary, and you don't go up there unless absolutely necessary, so that you can live in peace together and coexist. And we had a couple of voices come through that were agreeing with it. And
well, that's what they want a lot of times. A lot of spirits just want their own space. They feel like they're being kicked out. You know?
And about 2 weeks after that, she I talked to her and was kind of following up with her a little bit. And she was saying that for the first time in the 4 years that she's lived in that house, that she actually feels like she lives there alone now.
Oh, see that? That's wonderful.
And that's right. And that's no cleansing, no house blessing, no nothing. That's just a simple EVP session going with,
Well, you got to figure spirits are just people. If they are, in fact, a spirit, it's just people that used to live. Don't you want respect from, whether you pass away or not, don't you want respect from other people? And if you feel like you're booted out of your own place, it's like being evicted from a place you don't want to leave. Right. They can't make you. You got to respect them as people.
Right. And now she has reported that since then that the activity seems more intense in the basement, but it's not disturbing her. She said the only thing that she's noticed is that she can't keep a light bulb to stay working down there now.
Yeah.
And
their energy could have gotten stronger, or something. It could be. How do we know the answers? We're not going to know until we pass away ourselves. There's only things that we can speculate until then.
But that kind of confirms one of my personal theories that I believe in a lot of cases, and like we were talking about earlier, how when someone comes through that's a sensitive or a medium, how the activity just kind of surrounds them.
Yes, it does.
And I believe that there's a lot of them that just want to get their story told. That gives them that sense of closure so that they can move on.
That's what I've dealt with myself, being a sensitive. I feel like I know things that I'd have no way of knowing. And it's I don't know how to describe it. Like I could meet a stranger. I met someone, my husband's friend, for example. I met him for the first time, and I don't know how we got on the subject of being sensitive, but I told him that I don't know how to always use it, but I am a sensitive, and I know things that I shouldn't know. And he didn't believe me, and I told him his grandparents' name. And I told him what kind of dog he had when he was a little boy. And I told him where he grew up. And he couldn't believe it. He didn't want to believe it. He told me, I don't want to believe this, but you're not wrong. And he had tears in his eyes. There's no way I could know his grandparents' name and that type of thing, just meeting him the first time. But it doesn't always work. I can't just turn it on like a light switch. I can't just walk up to someone like, I know your sister's name. It's not like that. It comes when it wants to. So for people that are like, you're not psychic because you don't know this, and it doesn't always work. You got to wait and see when it wants to get a message out. I can't deal. That's their end of the deal. I can't force spirits to talk.
Right. Well, and something, a personal experience for me is, I don't know if you had referenced to me a sensitive or not. I feel like have a slightly higher intuition than mine's slightly above average. But I think mine is linked to a near-death experience that I had as a child.
Oh, that happens a lot.
And I've noticed that when I go to a location, a lot of times the activity will kind of shift its focus to being around me. If we catch an anomaly, typically it's when I come in front of the camera. You'll see it
exactly
close to me.
That happens to me too.
I tend to get the better EVP results.
Well, I did study Raymond Moody and near-death experiences for a lot of years. I've been looking into that, actually. And I belong to a couple of Facebook groups that deal with near-death experiences. And most people say that they have heightened awareness or they become sensitive or psychic after their experience. You know, you never know. You never know what it is. You never know.
When I had my experience, I was 6 years old, and I had a severe adverse reaction to anesthesia.
I was going to say, did you get a fever?
Yes, actually.
I'm seeing a high fever.
I have what they call malignant hyperthermia. It is a condition that they had no idea that I had it until I reacted to the anesthesia. It's something that's how most people that have it find out. But it causes my body to constantly run a low-grade fever.
Okay, that's what I was kind of seeing.
And I had such an adverse reaction to the anesthesia that my heart stopped.
Oh no!
I was flatlined for right at 6.5 minutes.
That is so scary, poor thing.
And
that's when God needed you, or whoever needed you, to go, to go check things out. You got a special gift, I believe.
Right. When they resuscitated me, I came back talking about flying around the room. I described flying out the window and flying around the room. And of course, you're thinking, 6-year-old kid, at first. But then I described everything that happened in detail.
Exactly.
That went on while I was flatlined.
Right. Well, that fascinates me when kids come up with, details.
Right.
There's almost no way to brainwash a little 3 or 4-year-old.
Right. I recalled the doctor and the nurse's exact conversation. I knew how many times that they used the defibrillator on me. I knew that it was the 4th time that they shocked me that my heart actually started again.
Good Lord, isn't that something?
I knew that, and I was talking about the people that weren't supposed to be in there. I described people with old clothes that were in there, how the room was crowded, and it just very strange. But I believe that kind of has a lot of the reason that I kind of have a little bit of a heightened intuition, and why a lot of the activity tends to focus around me when I go places like that. But that's also one of the things.
Doctor dropped me on my head, but who knows?
Well, I was always told the doctor spanked the wrong end because he wasn't sure which was which. But that's one of the things. That experience was what initially sparked my interest in the paranormal. What made me want to research the afterlife, the unknown, things like that. And it just grew from there.
Well, that's the same thing with me kind of tonight. I mean, the same thing. Once I started realizing when I was old enough to see spirits and stuff like that, or feel spirits, I mostly feel them. I don't see them very often. I feel them. And it's a very strong thing. Like if somebody were to hold up a magnet to you, feel the difference. It wasn't until I was very young. And it takes a little bit of trauma sometimes, no matter what the trauma is, for it to appear. I think because your emotions hold things like a magnetic field. We're made up of electricity. And when something intensifies, it's like sticking a knife in a light socket. It makes an explosion. I think it's somewhat along those lines. Something triggers it that makes it explode and come to life.
Right. I just want to say something. I see that it's getting almost time for the end of the show, so just one little bit of information I wanted to put out there was, here it is. We're doing a paranormal Christmas episode. So, and that may sound strange, but something I want everybody to think of, and you can look this up if you don't believe me. A long-time tradition dating back to the Victorian era was telling ghost stories after dinner on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yep.
why A Christmas Carol was so popular. If you look at it, it's
I
a Christmas
believe
ghost
that.
story.
Right. We were
Hey,
just talking about this before you came on.
Frank, why don't you post your show link there before we shut down so everybody
yeah.
can check it out.
Okay, I certainly will. And I appreciate you letting me come on and yak a little bit. And
Oh, shoot. We
loved it.
loved it, man. I like talking with you because you and I kind of tend to lean in the same directions.
Yeah.
Right, I think we spent a couple of years in the same school.
Yeah.
It was probably 7th grade. That was the best 4 years of my life.
I'm like Spicoli. I think I've been stoned since the 3rd grade. No, actually, that's a joke, y'all. I don't do that stuff, but I love that movie though. If y'all hadn't seen it. Anyways, if Frank could get his link up there, I'm gonna say the goodbyes and Merry Christmases, and I appreciate everybody calling in and chiming in the chat room. We have had a blast. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the next one, which will be the 29th. Mark that down on your little calendars, everybody. Yeah, and looking forward to 2015, Dita, right on. I'm going to say fare thee well. Everybody have a Merry, Merry Christmas. And be sure to be here for the New Year's Eve blast. Good night, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Nice.
I'm trying to find a ghost, but there's nothing, so I guess I'll have to fake. Go down to the park, and when it starts to get dark, with my camera I will click away. Now don't be suspicious, cause my pictures are fictitious, or I'll block you as a friend of mine. We all know they're not true, I'll ask a favor from you, just let me bask in my fake limelight. But they keep mocking me daily. They keep on mocking me daily. They keep on mocking me daily. They keep on mocking me daily. I built a Bigfoot in my backyard, got a demon at a theme park. UFOs are flying by me all day. Posted on my Facebook and I sit back and wait to see the likes come from my friends with no brains. But they keep mocking me daily. Yeah, they keep mocking me daily. They keep on mocking me daily. They keep on mocking me daily. Daily, 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 keep on mocking. Mocking me daily. Keep on mocking. Mocking me daily. Yeah. Don't be suspicious that my pictures are fictitious, or I'll block you as a friend of mine. We all know they're not true, I'll ask a favor from you, just let me bask in my fake limelight. I filmed a Bigfoot in my backyard, got a demon in a theme park, UFOs are flying by me all day. Posted on my Facebook and I sit back and wait to see the likes come from my friends with no brains. But you keep mocking me daily. bugging me.